The earlier you address your health concerns, the more likely you are to have a full recovery. Don't wait. Our expert Beaumont doctors and caregivers are here for you. Learn more about how we're keeping you safe at beaumont.org/safe.
I'm Dick Hafner, WJR News, and now here's Kevin Deitz.
The Paul W. Smith Show, News Talk 760, WJR.
Good morning and welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show. It is July 29th. Thanks for joining us on WJR 760. We're also live on Facebook Live and YouTube. The gang is with us this morning. Ann Thomas, executive producer. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Kev. Great to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. And Dick Hafner, is that you over there? Dick, how are you feeling today?
I'm just peachy. I couldn't be better. 100%.
I had to go to you, Dick, before I went to Dana because I hear Dana is hovering in the 100% range, and we don't want to steal your thunder. So Dana Clark is with us. How are you, Dana?
It's hump day.
It's hump day. Yes, it is.
I'm 98%.
98%. Not bad. Not bad. I think that might be a 72%. And how you doing?
72.
72. That's low. That's very low. Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll move it up. We'll pump it up as we go here.
I'm with Dick. I'm 100%.
Oh,
100%. I like it.
I'm always really good at the beginning of the day. I love a new day.
Then the fade starts as the day goes on.
Relentless optimism. Is that because it's Lasagna Day, National Lasagna today? Are you excited about that?
Is it really?
Whoa.
It is. I found the magic website that tells you what day it is. It's actually like Chicken Wing Day and Lasagna Day today.
Oh, I can do the chicken wings in my air fryer. So good.
It's nice that they let you choose which day you'd like to have.
What website is that?
I don't know. I'll send you the link though. It has them
Cool.
up every day.
Good to know.
Yes, it's what is that link? I pulled it up. It's just a daily calendar of holidays.
Okay.
International, world, bizarre, unique, special holidays. I don't know. We did not fact check that, by the way.
Right,
if you're out there and
A radio host's best friend.
yes,
That's right. That's right.
And it's actually pizza day, not lasagna day. You can send your complaints to me. Don't send them to Paul's show or anyone else on the show. I'm fully responsible for if I'm wrong about National Lasagna Day. Oh boy. So I was also looking over a couple of little articles, and I saw that they're reporting that Michigan mail is going to start coming even later than it is. The COVID has been interfering already, but now if you're sending mail out of state or expecting mail from out of state especially, it's going to take at least a week to get here.
Okay.
Do you guys still do that, or are you all Amazon, all email all the time?
Wow.
There is some mail that's sent. A few things.
Right. I'm with Dana. But is that all due to COVID still, Kev?
Yeah, they've had some people have been out, and so the problem is at the process centers, stuff's getting backed up there, and it's just taking longer for it to get out. I know, like Amazon's been behind a little bit too. I was talking to some people who were trying to get some wedding presents on time, and they had to do some of those IOUs, take a photo of the gift you're going to get in a couple of days.
Yeah, that's a good idea, though.
It is, yeah.
Anyway, we're almost all at 100% this morning. We're going to be back with more of the Paul W. Smith Show after we check in with weather and traffic and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by the podcast True Romance.
Hi, I'm Devin Leary. And I'm Carolina Barlow. And we're here to tell you to dump him.
Break up with your boyfriend.
It's time.
Find True Romance wherever you get your podcasts to find out why.
Traffic First sponsored by Operating Engineers 324. Operating Engineers 324 run the heavy equipment that's building Michigan's roads. Remember to slow down, pay attention in work zones for the workers' safety and yours. OE 324, we build, we operate, we maintain. Visit OE324.org. As Dick mentioned, closure in Ann Arbor Charter Township. This is along Geddes Road. Both directions, eastbound and westbound between North Dixboro and Superior Road. Unfortunately, an accident, trooper involved crash happening there. So that is a shutdown. That could be shut down throughout the morning commute, so avoid that area. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Gordon Chevrolet, where you pick out the vehicle you would love to drive and receive a worksheet with 18 different purchase and lease payments for you to choose from. You do this from the comfort of their outdoor showroom with covered patio seating. Gordon Chevrolet on Ford Road, just west of Merriman in Garden City. GordonChevrolet.com. Gordon Chevrolet, find new roads.
A batch of rain and thunderstorms passes north this morning. Some of us may get clipped with a shower thunderstorm this afternoon. After a break, the rain chance, we'll see it come back, 84 degrees. Tonight, we break up the cloud party, settle back to 65. Tomorrow, some sun in the morning, more clouds in the afternoon with a high of 83. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
It's 5:44. Let's check in with Rush Limbaugh.
Well, this was inevitable. Now comes the coronavirus legal blowback. In Massachusetts, property owners are fed up. They're suing the state and the Massachusetts Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development. The issue is the eviction moratorium that was put in place during the lockdown to permit tenants to stay in their rental properties, even if they haven't paid rent. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker just extended the eviction moratorium until the middle of October. A lawyer for the landlords explains that one of his clients, a nurse, is owed $20,000 in back rent. The nurse is now experiencing serious financial difficulties because the government did not give her a moratorium on paying her financial obligations. The lawsuit was filed in federal court. It accuses the state of violating the landlord's right to just compensation for what amounts to the unlawful taking of their property, violating their right to the legal process, and unconstitutionally impairing their lease agreements. Now, you can bet there could be a slew of lawsuits like this across the nation, not just from landlords, but from thousands of business owners going bust because power-hungry governors of liberal states want to keep everything shut down to damage President Trump. These blue state autocrats believe they are invincible and unaccountable, and we're about to find out whether or not they are right. As usual, trial lawyers right in the middle of the mess.
Rush Limbaugh, noon to 3, today, right here on WJR.
So did you see that fire last night at the marina? There was a big fire at a St. Clair Shores marina.
Which one, Annie?
It was near the restaurant Mike's on the Water. Isn't that kind of a popular place over on that? So
yeah.
Fortunately, nobody hurt, but some boats really damaged.
Wow.
Yeah, I wonder
You
what
don't
happened.
hear that often.
No, that's interesting. I think the biggest news of the day is, isn't it going to be less humid?
Yes, it is. Yes, Annie, you said it's going to rain though. Pop-up showers probably.
That's okay.
But yeah, well, 65% humidity.
Oh.
So
isn't it harder to walk? Don't you guys think it's harder to walk in the?
Yes.
It's
Now,
really
where do you go? You said Heritage Park?
We've done Heritage Park quite a bit. Yes, beautiful.
Now, do they have a track or you just?
They have a lot of trails. They have trails.
I got to get out there.
And they actually, if you go online, you can take a look at the map, and they have 3-mile trails and 2-mile trails, and it's really a nice walk.
I have to get over there.
Yeah, but normally, if we're not doing that, we just do neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing, mainly just in the neighborhood. But I would like to go to Heritage Park.
Do something different.
Yeah.
Kev, what do you do? Kevin's a big walker too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try and stay close to home if I can.
Just in case you got to rush back.
Well, if you're going to have this, a 40% chance of rain showers, you don't want to get stuck out there. But my sister's a big walker too, and she likes to meet in Birmingham and walk. So sometimes we'll do that. But I really like to walk through neighborhoods and just look at houses and I don't know, the way stuff's decorated and stuff. I get into those when I walk those nature trails and whatever. I always feel like I'm getting eaten alive by bugs and whatnot.
Yeah, I get
it is beautiful.
Too. I get messed up. Yeah,
you got to spray yourself before
you go. Okay, that's what I forget to do.
I like walking around water too. If I'm up north, I try and walk by the lake, and I have a brother who lives over on Square Lake, and we'll walk around that lake, which is a pretty good walk. So yeah, as long as I'm just walking and I don't have to run, I'm fine.
Oh, I know. Running. I hate running. I like the benefits, but I don't like the
work,
the actual running part.
I
So
really do admire though people who can just, I'm going for a run.
I know,
they
and
just get
it's
up
like
and
8
run.
miles.
And
It's like 8
wow.
miles. It's like, are you crazy?
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Deitz.
We got the gang together, Ann Thomas, Dana Clark, and Dick Hafner. Guys, did you guys watch any of the William Barr hearings yesterday? I turned this thing on about when it started, and I think I almost watched till the end. It was like I couldn't take my eyes off this thing.
Right.
It was they called in the Attorney General, and the Democrats just like beat him up. They just went after him.
They did the rope-a-dope on him, huh?
They asked him question after question and never let him answer. Every time he tried to answer, they just said, "This is my time," and they would go on with something else they wanted to say. And then a Republican would get on and say, "Well, I guess I'll give you my time to answer the questions and try and get your point across." But it's crazy watching those hearings and wondering what they're trying to accomplish. I know they have serious questions and they bring up serious issues, but the way they go about doing it, it just looks like a complete show. Like they're just doing it for the cameras or for the voters back home. I don't know. Hey, Brian, if you have
that detract from what they're trying to do?
Absolutely. But then they say, well, you can submit your answers in writing later and we'll read them. I don't know if they ever do, but there was one segment of the day that talked all about Michigan and the protesters that went to Lansing, in Michigan. And Brian pulled this up. It's pretty long. It's about 3 minutes, but I want to play it because I want to talk about it throughout the show. Brian, can you play that for us?
Let's look at how you respond when the protesters are supporters of the president. On 2 separate occasions, after President Trump tweeted, "Liberate Michigan," to subvert stay-home orders to protect the public health of people in Michigan, protesters swarmed the Michigan Capitol carrying guns, some with swastikas, Confederate flags, and one even with a dark-haired doll with a noose around its neck. Are you aware that these protesters called for the governor to be lynched, shot, and beheaded?
No,
You're not aware of that?
I was not aware of it.
Major protests in Michigan. You're the attorney general, and you didn't know that the protesters called for the governor to be lynched, shot, and beheaded. So obviously you couldn't be concerned about that.
Well, there are a lot of protests around the United States, and on June
Attorney
1st,
General Barr,
I was worried about the District of Columbia, which is
protests
federal.
in certain parts of the country. You're very aware of those, but when protesters with guns and swastikas and
I am
Confederate
aware of
flags, excuse me,
protesters
Mr.
in
Barr,
the
this
federal
is my
government.
time and I control it. You are aware of certain kinds of protesters, but in Michigan, when protesters carry guns and Confederate flags and swastikas and call for the governor of Michigan to be beheaded and shot and lynched, somehow you're not aware of that. Somehow you didn't know about it, so you didn't send federal agents in to do to the president's supporters what you did to the president's protesters. In fact, you didn't put pepper balls on those protesters. So the point I'm trying to make here, Mr. Barr, that I think is very important for the country to understand is that there is a real discrepancy in how you react as the attorney general, the top cop in this country, when white men with swastikas storm a government building with guns. There is no need for the president to, quote, activate you because they're getting the president's personal agenda done. But when black people and people of color protest police brutality, systemic racism, and the president's very own lack of response to those critical issues, then you forcibly remove them with armed federal officers, pepper bombs, because they are considered terrorists by the president. You take an aggressive approach to Black Lives Matter protests, but not to right-wing extremists threatening to lynch a governor if it's for the president's benefit. Did I get it right, Mr. Barr?
I have responsibility for the federal government, and the White House is the seat of the
Mr.
executive
Barr, let me just
branch,
make it clear.
not
You
for
are
the-
supposed
the
to
Michigan
represent
authorities
the
can
people
handle-
of the United
Michigan
States
authorities
of
can
America,
handle-
not violate people's First Amendment rights. You are supposed to uphold democracy and secure equal justice under the law, not violently dismantle certain protesters based on the president's personal agenda.
And that's the kind of day the Attorney General, William Barr, had.
He was all bruised up when he left there, wasn't he?
Oh my. It's interesting. So, we're here in Michigan. We covered the rally, and I know what he's talking about, but were there serious threats to have the governor beheaded or lynched in Michigan? I mean, that's not the way I saw that when it happened. The way I saw it was there were people up there and they had dolls and things that were inappropriate. It was bad. It was not good. But I'm not sure. And correct me if I'm wrong or if you feel differently, but I didn't feel like that rally that took place in Michigan required the federal government to send troops over to break it up or anything. It seemed to me like the Michigan State Police and others who were patrolling had that under control. It was just embarrassing and bad taste and, inappropriate. But I'm not sure there was a threat the way we're seeing in Portland, Oregon, where there's actually attacks going on every day. But what were your thoughts on what you heard there?
Well, one of the things I always think when I watch these hearings is they're very dramatic, and the congressman or woman is trying to make a name for him or herself. I mean, they're putting on a big show. She wouldn't even let him answer. And I just don't think you get a lot out of them other than walking away thinking, oh my God, it's just always a big dramatic show.
Yeah, I also feel like the Attorney General William Barr was aware of that situation. Like he must have heard about that. I think everybody heard about that. That was one of those viral video news days where those clips went around. So you just don't feel like you're getting any answers out of these hearings, or at least I don't.
Or getting the truth.
Dick, what are your thoughts?
The questions that I saw were sloppy and political. Most of these lawmakers are lawyers, and in a court of law, a good lawyer, instead of making these statements and trying to testify themselves, if they think that someone like Barr did something wrong or did wrong things, various things that they're complaining about, much better for them to ask pinpointed questions.
Yes.
Let him give an answer that they know is going to come.
Right.
And then have one or two other questions prepared for the answer that they knew was going to come, and try to make him step in it himself. In parts that I heard and watched, I didn't see any of the lawmakers do that. Instead, they wanted to ask him a question, let him do a 5 or 6 word answer, and then make a political statement. I think the Democrats missed a really good opportunity if they thought they had the guy doing these bad things across the country. They had him in the chair, and I think they blew it.
I agree with Dick.
Well said.
Yeah, it's really clear.
Mason.
Right. Which is back on HBO. It's pretty good too.
Instead, we just got a bunch of political commercials.
Right.
All right, we'll be back with much more of the Paul W. Smith Show right after we check on weather and traffic with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by the podcast True Romance.
Hi, I'm Devin Leary. And I'm Carolina Barlow. And we're here to tell you to dump him.
Break up with your boyfriend.
It's time.
Find True Romance wherever you get your podcasts to find out why.
Traffic First also sponsored by Liberty Title, protecting property since 1974. Few quick tips from Liberty Title. Cybercrime and identity theft in real estate is a $2 billion industry. Make sure your title company is insured. There is no need for split closing. Use only one title company and never close your transaction in a public place. You have a choice. Choose libertytitle.com. A closure in Ann Arbor, Gettys Road, both directions eastbound and westbound between North Dixboro Road and Superior Road shut down there. Avoid the area. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by the Restore Wellness Center. Tired of dealing with nagging body pain? The Restore Wellness Center will reduce the pain and scar tissue, improve blood flow, nerve function, and muscle stimulation. The state's best non-invasive laser therapy treatments will reduce your pain. Call 800-935-5959 in Brighton, Shelby, and Bloomfield, or restorewellnesscenter.com. Expecting pop-up showers, scattered showers, and thunderstorms, especially this morning and then returning this afternoon. Gusty winds and small hail are possible, a high of 83. A few clouds tonight, low 66. For Thursday, partly cloudy skies in the morning, then more clouds in the afternoon. Peaks of sunshine, a high of 82. Cloudy, 73 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Dick Hafner in about 1 minute.
So the woman that was questioning Attorney General Barr was Representative Pramila Jayapal. Is that okay? The other thing that she was inaccurate about was when she was talking about the Washington protest, where he was involved and they cleared Washington Square so that the president could go over to the photo op.
Yeah.
In that protest where she was saying that he, cared only about protests that involved African Americans, she's not right about that. That particular protest, it was, a very mixed crowd.
Yeah, that's true.
There were all kinds of people in that protest. The other thing in these hearings that you notice is there are a lot of factual inaccuracies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting because the attorney general in this case, or the witness in all cases, is under oath and under threat of perjury. But the officials making the statements are not under oath. they're just asking questions. Hey, I heard somewhere that maybe this happened, and they can kind of say whatever they want while the person sitting there is under oath. At one point, William Barr he wasn't being allowed to answer, or they said yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, and he said no or something, and he goes, yes, you said no. He said, well, wait a minute. He goes, no, you can't answer anymore. It's my time. And he's like, no, I'm under oath, under threat of perjury. I'm going to answer this question in more detail than yes or no, and he had to really kind of fight for his time to do that. And it's just I don't know, I just feel like it's almost like they need to be like the debates with rules. Okay, you get 1 minute, 2 minutes to make your statement, you get 1 minute to respond.
The witness answer.
Yeah, it was really
Was there any more conversation about the one protest in DC where they did clear out the area with tear gas, and it is questionable what happened? I mean, they could have talked more about that with them.
They could have. And there was a big debate over whether there was tear gas used or pepper spray or pepper balls. And I think like the public would like to know what they used and why. I would like to know what they used and why. But I don't feel, after watching for 6 hours, I'm not sure. I'm certain it almost, I wonder were there canisters that had smoke but didn't have the chemicals in them, or were there, or were canisters dispensed by the crowd, or did the police use tear gas and they're lying about it? I mean, I don't feel like we got any closer to any answers. But someday in 4 months, they'll come out with a 6,000-page report and say, here you go. I mean, the witness is there, and I don't care who it is, but the witness is right there. Ask him a question under oath. And if you prove he's lying, then you have the ability to charge him. Or her.
Is he done, or is he back on today?
No, I think he's done.
He's done.
I was there in the room when Governor Snyder was questioned about the Flint water crisis, and I was really excited to get some news, some information about what the governor knew and when he knew it. We didn't get any of that. We got a million speeches.
The same show.
We got a million speeches, no answers. And then when the TV cameras went away, all the politicians went away, and we got nothing. It was really disappointing and frustrating. It's a great system to be able to call someone in and put them under oath. I mean, that's the way you get to the truth. People are fearful of being charged with perjury for lying, so they tend to tell the truth.
Right. And the other part of the system that is great is you've got the opportunity to have different people with different backgrounds, different ideas asking questions. So you could really get some interesting answers and maybe get to the bottom of something because you have a team of people that are supposed to be prepared and asking good questions. And when they go in there and they just make silly statements and they don't even let the witness answer,
But you can always tell too who's a Republican and who's a Democrat as soon as they start talking. I used to play a game. I'd say that's a Republican, that's a Democrat before their name even came up because they're so one-sided. It's like, aren't you supposed to be, trying to get to the truth, the bottom? And you can tell as soon as they start talking what party they're with.
Yeah, and even yesterday, I mean, the Republicans would get on and they would just spend 2 minutes thanking the Attorney General for his service and this and that, and it's like, look, you could do that in the beginning when you introduce him, who he is and what his resume is, but you don't need to do that either. The Republicans should have had some good questions prepared for the Attorney General as well to find out
what a waste of time.
Yeah.
They could be doing something else.
I could have been doing something else. I could have been going for a walk.
and you get sucked in, though. You do.
I got sucked in because it was like Hamilton for me. It's like Hamilton. I can watch it over and over and over again.
Right. So true.
Spoken like a true newsman, Ken.
Right.
You just got totally addicted to the hearing. Right. You got totally sucked into the hearing. That's very funny.
All you see is Saturday Night Live too.
Oh yeah.
You just see the skit played out right before your eyes. It's like
you don't even need the Saturday Night Live to do it. You just that's good enough.
That. That's a really good point. It's absolutely true. It's very funny. Well, who can we talk to? Who can we complain to? We have to say what we think to somebody so change what they're doing. Right.
Well, in that case, it would be the head of the Judiciary Committee. We could write a letter to Nadler and say, we're not happy with the way you conducted that hearing. We would like some questions and answers.
Well, he was probably shaken up. He was in an accident.
He did. He had a car accident.
Before, and they postponed the start of the hearing for a little bit.
There was a part of there where the Attorney General apparently had to use the restroom, and he's like, can I have a 5-minute break? And Nadler's like, no, you cannot have a 5-minute break. He's like, I need a 5-minute break. He goes, no, we're almost done. We're not going to take a 5-minute break. He goes, look, I had to wait an hour and a half for you to get here this morning because of your car accident. I've not had lunch yet. It's 4:00 in the afternoon, or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I need a 5-minute break. And then the guy next to him goes, like, he has to go to the bathroom.
Right. Like,
and he's like, okay, 5-minute break. Okay.
Like, I am a person here. Hello.
From the great voice of the Great Lakes, this is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Deitz filling in for Paul.
It is 6:06 in the morning on a Wednesday, July the 29th. The gang is all here. Ann Thomas, Dana Clark, Dick Hafner. How is everybody today?
Wonderful.
Almost 100%. Or Dick is 100%. But it's hump day.
It's hump day. All right.
Camel. Where's my
I haven't heard the camel.
He's there. He spoke out. There we go.
There you go. There you go.
Just woke up.
Right. I thank everyone who's listening on WJR 760 and those who are watching on Facebook Live and YouTube. Guys, Ann and I were talking yesterday, trying to find interesting stories to talk about today and what we might talk about and trying to line up guests. And I saw a story about the Michigan bar exam and how these folks who just graduated law school were getting ready to take the bar. And because of COVID, they're taking the test at home on computers. And the main gist of the story that I was reading was talking about cheating and how to avoid cheating. And so they're setting up these programs where you had to center yourself on the camera and you weren't allowed to move and you weren't supposed to look off screen. And they had a system so that you couldn't look at your phones or get information from someone else. And then it turned out it got even more exciting than that. And you had some people who were taking the bar. There's 773 kids taking the bar exam yesterday.
Yes.
And it got a little crazy, didn't it, Ann?
Yes, it did. My
Most of those were
son-in-law.
Ann's kids, aren't they?
Exactly.
Well, first of all, I've been through this bar exam 3 times.
Wow.
So my daughter Patty's
I thought you'd pass by now.
My son, right, exactly. I feel like I'm taking it each time.
Yeah.
My son is an attorney. My son-in-law, Noah, is an attorney. And my son-in-law, Josh, took the bar yesterday. And my niece, Catherine, took it yesterday, too.
Oh, goodness.
And so, it was really different because, as Kevin's saying, they took it online. And, they put a note on the front door to please do not disturb. They told the neighbors, So they made it through the first section. They did fine. And then all of a sudden, when they went to go to the second section, they could not get on. They could not get on at all. And that was for all 700 plus students taking the exam. What ended up happening was they were hacked.
What?
There was a cyber attack.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. So can you imagine in the middle of taking the bar, the high anxiety and
right. And then this happened.
They eventually did, though. The good news is they did get on, most of them within a 37-minute time period.
Okay.
They all finished. So
Okay.
by the end of the day, everything was okay. But
They told these folks, like, if your dog barks, don't look at your dog because if your eyes are off the screen for too long, we're going to declare you cheated and you're not going to be eligible, and you'll have to retake it. And all of a sudden, like, you're worried about like not glancing away from the camera, and all of a sudden your computer crashes. I called Brian twice today because he didn't put me on the screen here just for this show. Could you imagine if you'd studied for 6 months for a test and spent $100,000 plus for law school, and then you go to get on to the next section, and it's just spinning volleyball.
Spinning, and plus the other people probably didn't know they were hacked, right? So you maybe think it's just you.
Exactly.
That's something I did wrong, and then you don't know, and then you're wondering if the part you did, was that saved? Is that still there? Oh, that would be so stressful.
The first thing I'd want to do is yell to one of my younger kids to come fix my computer. And as soon as I did that, if a door opened,
you're done.
You'd be violating the rules of, because they had all these rules in place for cheating. Just maddening. Now, they did it differently in other states.
Were there any messages or other bad stuff put on the screen by the hackers?
No, not that I know of.
Lawyers are bad. Lawyers are evil. I don't know, Dick. We're going to talk to a reporter a little later in the show. We'll see if they have more information on that. But what did anyone say? Was the screen just blank, or was it just?
Well, they were trying to get into the next section, so they just couldn't do anything. I mean, the password just wasn't working. And Dana's right, because you're by yourself taking it, online. And so you think it's you.
Can't call nobody.
Know that the next guy's having trouble too.
Right. And you have to just sit there.
And also every section is timed.
Yeah.
You only have so much time to do it. Every section is worth so many points. If you missed one section out of 5, you're not going to pass.
Exactly. Right.
It's so, I mean, just the pressure that, you must be going through is crazy. When my brother took the bar exam a million years ago, he forgot to turn over one of the pages. There was questions on the back of the last page or one of the pages, and he missed it. He missed like 2 questions that were on the back, but he still passed. He just barely passed. So he did really well on it, but he missed a couple questions that were on the back page and almost had to take it again.
When did they find out, Annie?
That's the other thing. They don't find out until October.
Oh, goodness. What?
It takes a long time to grade that because of all those essays. Yes. Usually it's a 2-day test. And this year, because of COVID, it was just 1 day online, all essays.
Okay.
Other states had people come in and
Yes.
take them, and they social distance them, and they, I don't know, maybe they wore masks into the room. They did it the way we typically usually do, but Michigan was one of the states that decided to do it online, and that makes you wonder about, eventually voting online and things like this. It just seems like the hackers don't seem to have any problem getting into stuff that's supposed to be really secure, like our banking information and taking the bar exam.
I don't know how the state of Michigan and the other states can protect the election information, the counting of the ballots from the hackers. I don't know how they can do it.
All right, you're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. We'll be back with much more after we check in with weather and traffic with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by the podcast Forgotten Women of Juarez.
The new podcast, Forgotten Women of Juarez, investigates a series of murders that have haunted the U.S.-Mexico border for almost 30 years. To find out more, listen to Forgotten Women of Juarez, wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic First also sponsored by Gordon Chevrolet. Gordon Chevrolet, where you pick out the vehicle you would love to drive and receive a worksheet with 18 different purchase and lease payments for you to choose from. And do this from the comfort of their outdoor showroom with covered patio seating. Gordon Chevrolet on Ford Road, just west of Merriman in Garden City. GordonChevrolet.com. Gordon Chevrolet, find new roads. New accident reported out there. This is along 75 southbound after Sashabla. It is blocking the right lane. And Getty's Road shut down both directions eastbound and westbound between North Dixboro and Superior Road due to a trooper accident that may be shut down throughout the morning commute. Avoid the area. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Restore Wellness Center. Are you experiencing nagging body pain? Tired of taking medication for relief, neck and back, arthritis, tendonitis, muscle soreness, and more? The Restore Wellness Center can help relieve or eliminate the pain completely and get you back to work. Reserve your appointment today. Call 800-935-5959 in Brighton, Shelby, and Bloomfield, or restorewellnesscenter.com.
A disturbance pushing through this morning and make a clip with a couple of showers, maybe a thunderstorm, especially just to the north. And a few showers, thunderstorms scattered around this afternoon. Hours of dry weather, 84. Partial clouds tonight, 65. More clouds gathering tomorrow afternoon with a high of 83. On the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stagik on News Talk 760 WJR.
Technology is transforming every aspect of business. That's why Walsh and Kettering University have come together to create the Walsh Kettering Tech MBA. It combines an internationally ranked Walsh MBA with an engineering.
You're all set, Kev, for the next one? You're ready to go?
Yeah. I'm trying to I didn't print off Brian's reads that I have to do, so I'm trying to size them up on my screen so that I can pull them up at the right time without losing everything else.
And Robin is our first guest, and she's calling us, right?
Yeah, Robin's going to call us.
Beautiful.
She promised.
And David Jesse's calling us too?
Yes, I gave everyone our number, our secret number.
Super secret number that you now know by heart because you...
but just in case I forget, I keep it handy written right here.
Since you have now become the summer WJR fill-in host.
I just never know what time of day or night it is.
Your wife is probably like, sitting at that computer, filling in again, huh?
I had, so I did Guy's show the other day, and I think we had a few fill-ins everywhere
we
for
did,
the show.
yes.
And the phones weren't working for the first hour, and none of us knew it, though, because we just didn't know, because we don't do it that often, So we're like, our guest didn't call, and we're like, wow, that's weird. Our guest didn't call, it's really surprising. And then nobody called, none of the callers called in, and we're asking people to call in to talk about stuff as it was opening day, so it was an easy topic for people to call in. Nothing. Finally, someone goes, hey, someone texts something like, hey, I've been trying to call. One of the guests texts, I've been trying to call, your phones aren't working. So we tried to get people to jump on the StreamYard, and eventually we got it. Eventually they came back on, but
so was that an hour? So did you guys just talk to each other the whole time?
Yes, we did.
Wow.
So I told Guy that was my summer weight loss program.
Because you were sweating.
Yes, it wasn't pretty.
Well, it's good practice for just like, ad-libbing and just sitting there and being like, okay, I got to fill this time.
I just
Wow.
sent Robin a text, so hopefully
Okay.
that'll work.
Gonna
Just
say. Oh, no, Robin. Okay. Brian says if panic was a good weight loss plan, he'd only weigh 10 pounds. That's like a producer's nightmare.
Right?
Oh, no. This is incredible.
Hey, Robin. Oh, okay. I just sent it to you. Just click on that number, okay? All right, bye.
Phone's working, right?
Yeah, she misplaced the number.
So what is Robin going to talk about, Kev? Tell our listeners, our viewers.
She's an award-winning health reporter with Bridge Magazine. She's great, and she did a deep dive into Michigan's data on opiate abuse, and found that opiate abuse is way up since COVID has come around, and a number of reasons. Some of it's people dealing with the pain of COVID with opiates. Other is people not being able to get to their meetings because of social distancing.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Deitz.
New data suggests that the isolation and economic collapse COVID-19 brought to Michigan may have caused another kind of misery here in the great state, an increase in opiate overdoses and death. Joining us now is award-winning reporter for Bridge Magazine, Robin Erb. Robin, welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show.
Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning. So, I've covered a lot of stories about opiate abuse and the pain and suffering that people go through while they're on opiates, and especially when they're trying to recover, and how entire families have to get involved and how difficult it is, the recovery of opiate abuse. And one of the things that I learned in my covering of these stories is how important it is for not just family to be there for those who become addicted, but for people to get to meetings, to get to their groups, to get to their therapists, and be able to work through it together. And I'm just wondering, when I read that opiates up during COVID-19, I wonder if that's part of the equation, or what you've discovered as you've done a deep dive into this research.
Sure. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, COVID has put so many of us in just a tailspin, even in the best circumstances. And if you're teetering on the edge between recovery and relapse, you've got all this extra uncertainty now, this anxiety, the isolation that we're all facing, or so many of us are facing. And at the very same time, your in-person support has vanished. That peer counseling, that in-person contact with your recovery specialist, your mentors, those group sessions, they're gone. And a lot of the recovery community has gone online, and they did that very quickly. But, recovery counselors will tell you that's just not the same doing this online.
So who are some of the people you talked to? What are some of the agencies you talked to when you were putting this report together, which you can find on bridgemagazine.com, and we'll put a link up on WJR.com as well. But who did you talk to, and what did you learn?
Sure. We talked to a couple of agencies that have specialized in recovery for many years, Sanford House and Pine Rest. Both in Grand Rapids. And Pine Rest actually did a fairly lengthy report on this earlier this year. And they looked ahead and they said, look, with the pandemic upon us, we're going to be dealing with a lot of misery for folks. And again, that's going to send people over the edge.
And so when you talk about people, and these are people who already were addicted, basically like falling off the wagon or having a hard time with it, or were there new cases of people becoming addicted to opiates during this time as well?
Sure. Well, it could be a couple of things. And I should add that, in addition to the addiction specialists that we talked to, we talked to the state, we've talked to medical examiners. We talked to the head of the Michigan Association of Family or Academy of Family Physicians. These are folks who all work in this space. So let me back up a little bit. When you look at the state data, we don't know, to your question, exactly who these folks are. Are they folks in recovery who are struggling? Are they new people struggling with addiction? There's certainly some theories about that, and I can go into that. But, in terms of the raw data, and again, each data point is a person, as the state reminded us, ER visits, okay, folks being rushed to the emergency room in April and May, those numbers surged 42%. And EMS runs increased as well. This at a time when other runs and other ED visits were dropping, because if you remember, and it's still a problem, people are still afraid to go seek care right now because of COVID. Yet at the very same time that people who are having heart attacks or strokes were not calling their doctors or not going to the emergency rooms, the numbers for opioid overdoses and withdrawal symptoms were going up. So that's pretty profound. To your question about whether or not these are people in recovery or new people struggling with addiction, there are a lot of theories. And again, it's still early, so it's going to take a while to sort this out. But it may be people in recovery, as we talked about. It also could be, for example, somebody who's chronically in pain who now has lost their job or access to their doctor, or maybe they're just worried to go see their doctor right now, and they've lost their pain management. So they're turning to maybe an illicit source or somebody who knew somebody, kind of thing. And that's a really dangerous thing to do, of course. It could also be people who, were getting medication-assisted treatment, the Suboxone that we've heard a lot about. And maybe that source has dried up now, or they're worried about going to the clinic. There are a lot of theories about who these numbers represent.
Did some of the experts give you advice to share on what people should do if they feel like they're struggling?
Well, one of the first things is don't be alone. Don't use alone. Somebody said it just really bluntly. If you overdose and you're alone, that's a pretty sure shot at death. I mean, that's grim, but that makes sense. So they do. They online isn't perfect. Those online counseling groups aren't perfect, but they go a long way. So there's always that. There, being around people who are supportive, kind of the things that we know. And again, these are a challenge during COVID. But if you're working between recovery and relapse, for goodness sakes, don't do it alone.
Yeah, and getting to meetings and talking with other people and peer groups and all that stuff is just so important that hopefully some will be able to open up with social distancing and masks and things like that, like some of the other, like everything else is trying to open, and the sooner they can do that, the better. Robin Erb, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show. Everybody can go to Bridge Magazine and find that article. Very helpful and very informative. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Kevin. Have a great day.
You too. Well, much more of the Paul W. Smith Show after we check in with traffic and weather with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by the podcast Forgotten, Women of Juarez. The new podcast, Forgotten, Women of Juarez, investigates a series of murders that have haunted the U.S.-Mexico border for almost 30 years. To find out more, listen to Forgotten, Women of Juarez, wherever you get your podcasts.
It's busy out there, Kevin. A new accident on the border along 75 southbound after East Holly Road. Collision there blocks the left shoulder. 75 southbound after Sashaba. The right lane is blocked due to a crash there. MSP trooper involved in a crash, shutting down Geddes Road, both directions, eastbound and westbound between North Dixboro and Superior Road. Please avoid the area. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by the law firm of Victoria Divorce and Family Law for Women Only. Family members and friends, pass this information on to your loved ones. Asset protection, best interest of the children. The conversation starts with the law firm of Victoria. Call 248-723-1600, victorialawfirm.com. We are definitely going to see some showers today. Some areas are already wet. Scattered showers, thunderstorms this afternoon, a high of 83. Tonight, a few clouds, low 66. Mostly clouds on Thursday, some peaks of sunshine and a high of 82. Cloudy skies, 73 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Dick Hafner in 2 minutes.
If we're all going to be stuck in our house anyway, let's get some of those DIY projects done around the house.
The Inside Outside guys and their many team partners are here for you during these uncertain times when we are all stuck in our homes.
If you need emergency help or simply some home improvement advice, talk directly to the guys at 888-654-GUYS or 24/7 at theinsideoutsideguys.com.
The Inside Outside guys have built a team to be here for you 24/7.
The Inside Outside Guys is brought to you in part by North Bloomfield Properties.
North Bloomfield Properties, experts you can trust.
With over 25 years experience, North Bloomfield Properties is the area's most recommended residential property management team. Our full-service management approach handles all the advertising, cleaning, maintaining, and repairing of your rental homes. That's why the Better Business Bureau awards us an A+ for customer satisfaction. Contact us today so you can enjoy your weekends again. Visit northbloomfield.com.
North Bloomfield Properties, experts you can trust.
Hi, it's Paul W. Smith here to remind our WJR wine enthusiasts to join the Capitol Grill for their annual Generous Pour wine event, now through September 6th. You'll experience a collection of 7 remarkable wines, the memories, images, scents, textures, and emotions that inspire visionary Orrin Swift, winemaker Dave Finney, wine enthusiast, winemaker of the year. For $28 with dinner, you can enjoy the Generous Pour at the Capitol Grill, or for the first time in...
There we go.
All right, what's going on?
I'm interested in that accident on Getty's. I wonder what happened with the trooper. I was just we may want to, Dana says it's a trooper involved accident. We may want to call Mike Shaw here to see what that is. Did you see that study that more people are driving crazy and not paying attention to the speed limit and that kind of thing during COVID?
Because there's not as many people out there, or you're not worried about police. I saw because of COVID, people are driving their cars longer, and the cars are older. Like the average is up to 12 years, I think.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah. And then I looked out in the driveway. I said, I guess they may be right.
Are you doing that? Do you have...
we're going to get new cars when we need them. We're not like, hey, every 2 years. We buy our cars. We don't lease them. So, so we have one car that is new, like a year old. And then my car, I was trying to do the math. I think it might be 10 years old. I was like, I don't put as many miles on that. We when we're going somewhere, we always drive the newer car, and then when the newer car is not newer anymore, it becomes my car. But whatever my car is, never has a lot of miles on it because I just drive to work and back,
Right,
And now it's not driving at all. And then the kids' cars are older too. We always buy them used cars that are a little older.
Yeah, we used to.
So our average is probably about. There's 5 of us, 5 cars. Our average is probably about 6 or 7 or 8 years, maybe. You average it all out.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's older. That's older. That's all paid for. The paid for. I like the number paid for. So that usually comes after 3, 4, or 5 years. So you see some of these car loans when you go and buy a car now, they give you a 7-year loan.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's too much paying interest time for me.
Oh, Brian, yes. I better write back to Brian. Yes. I forgot to tell Brian that David is coming up next.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Brian, that's David Jesse. He is next. He is going to talk about the trouble yesterday with the bar exam.
Is he called in yet or no?
Yeah, Brian said, I have somebody on the line and I don't know who it is. David Jesse, Brian, Detroit Free Press. You know, it'll be interesting, Kev, to see if, I don't know, when they grade those tests, if they take that flip into consideration, or what will they, what will
Yeah.
they think of that? Will they just think, well, that's life?
Well, it sounds like 4 of the 5 went fine, right?
Yes, 4 of the 5 went fine.
So those will all be graded, as planned, probably.
And frankly, 2 went fine once they got on.
Once they got on. So,
yeah.
And they had the full time once they got on. Whenever they got on, they had their full 20 minutes.
They actually extended it. So they had
more time.
So,
Yeah.
And they made sure that every student finished by the end of the day.
Okay.
But you wonder, will they take the high anxiety into account, or will it be more?
Did they take it at their house then, Annie?
Yes. Well, Josh took it at his house. I'm assuming my niece Catherine did. You could take it at the house, but your point though about the camera is well taken, because you couldn't be disrupted. So like my daughter Helen went someplace else for the day. And then they did put
I would go to like someone's office or something like that.
Yeah, but they did put like a big note on the door and everything too.
Yeah, like do not disturb, do not walk in the background, do not drop my camera.
Don't do anything to get me in trouble, please.
I put those notes on all my doors. Nobody cares. No one just let the dog in. There's people wandering around, wondering what's going on.
Yeah, I know. That's very funny.
How are Facebook people doing? Good. Thanks for stopping in, everybody. Clay, Maria, and Patrick.
Yes,
a lot of the usuals are here. That's good.
We have a loyal following in the morning.
They keep themselves company while we're trying to put the show together. I like that. Yes, they all talk to each other. It's great.
Yeah, Rosemary and Clay want to know about your secret number, the secret call-in number.
You believe me, I'll give it to anyone. I want anyone to call in when a guest doesn't call in. I'll talk to anybody.
That's hilarious.
I would be happy to get you that number.
Well, the good thing is if you're on StreamYard, you could actually do that. And you could even take...
Yeah, you can drop it. Oh,
they
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Put the StreamYard people in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a good thing to know.
Yep. There's shows that do that. They just send it. They put the StreamYard up and they bring you in, and that's how they take your callers.
They're right here in our community.
That's Certa with a C. CertaPro Painters, proven and trusted experts in painting.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Deitz.
Imagine spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, 3 or 4 years studying to get through law school. And when you do, you're ready to take the bar and get on with your career. Except there's that little problem of COVID-19. Yeah, it's disrupted everything, including the bar exam. The solution in Michigan was to let people take the bar at home. About 750 kids, 773 kids taking the bar exam yesterday from home. What was really interesting was they were worried about cheating, and so they set up all these special processes where you were to sit in the center of your computer and not look up and down and make sure your phones weren't on and all these things. Well, it got even crazier than that. And joining us now to talk about everything that went down with the bar exam yesterday and what the plans were and how they ended up going is our friend David Jesse of the Detroit Free Press. David, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kevin.
So when I first called you, I wanted to talk about all the things that were going to be put in place and how different this experience was going to be for kids taking the bar. And we'll talk about that. But first, let's talk about what happened when kids actually sat down, not just kids, but anyone who would graduate from law school sat down to take the exam yesterday.
Well, everything went smoothly for the first hour or so. They logged into the software. The software is built so it kicks you off the internet, so you can't look up answers or whatever. And there's a time. And then when the students got done with that module, they were supposed to log back in. The internet got turned back on their computers, and they were supposed to log back in to get passwords for the next section of the test. I think there were 5 sections, and that site that they were supposed to get the password from crashed. The students couldn't get through. There was nothing going on, as you might imagine. That caused a bit of panic among them. And it turns out the company and then the Michigan Supreme Court, which runs the exam, also said that someone or some organization was trying to hack the exam, and that's what caused the whole system to crash and throw everything off for 20 minutes or a half an hour.
Cyber attack during your bar exam, that would throw me off for sure. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things they had in place, because we were talking about what it would be like trying to put ourselves in the shoes of the people taking this test when you get to that second segment and you put in your password and nothing's happening. For me, I would sort of panic and want to wonder what I'm doing wrong. If I'm doing something technically wrong, I'd want to, I don't know, call someone who knows more about computers for help or whatever. But the way this was set up, they didn't want you moving from your camera, right? From your chair.
Right. They wanted you. In fact, in the instruction panel they sent out to the people who were taking the test, it's in big, bright red, all caps letters in the middle of the instructions. You're supposed to sit right in front of your computer camera and then not move. The camera was recording. Your microphone in your laptop and your computer got turned on to record, so that they could see if you were looking around. Were you looking, at some notes that you had placed to the side? Were you using your phone to Google an answer? And so you're supposed to sit very still. You're supposed to look right at the computer. In fact, they encourage people to go on to Zoom in the days before and practice that with someone of looking right at the camera for an extended amount of time.
And these were written essays, so you're trying to write your response. You're trying to pass the bar. At the same time, you're trying not to move around or look around too much. Were there actual monitors, human monitors watching people's actions as they were taking the test, or was this all done with computers and facial recognition and technology?
We're not sure, and that's part of the problem that students had. They didn't know what was happening to that computer feed. You weren't live on the internet, so there wasn't someone live watching you. Again, the software had disabled your internet except for when you had to go out to get passwords and stuff for the next module, and then you had to upload not only your test answer, but then the video and audio recordings as well, which of course, led to some worry. What happens if I get my test done, but I can't get it uploaded? What happens if there's it gets halfway through and there's a glitch? What happens if the video uploads, but my answer doesn't upload? You can imagine the stress. I mean, the bar exams, notorious for stress and for being tough. And, so in a normal situation, students are stressed out by it. I can't imagine, also trying to worry about what technology was doing.
Now, some states still had it where you come in and take the test and they just did social distancing. The people you talked to who were taking it, were they happy to have the opportunity to take it at home, or would they have preferred to go in? What were you hearing?
Actually, they would prefer not to have taken it at all. They were pushing a big thing called diploma privilege, where basically because you graduated from an accredited college, accredited law school, you would come out with a degree, and you would get admitted to the bar on the basis of that, and just get the test.
I bet everyone who goes to law school would like that deal.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as in person, so if you go in person now, you're going to have to wear masks and to be social distance, right? There's going to be all kinds of issues there as well. So the students I talked to, the test takers I talked to, they were just really kind of kind of split by it. I don't think there was a particularly good answer for how to take the test this year.
But the cyber attack was temporary, right? Everybody eventually got back on.
Yeah, the company said that everybody got back on. The test is a timed test, and they had given a certain amount of time to get through, and then after that it was done, and they extended that time, and it was probably about 7 o'clock or so last night. The Supreme Court sent out a statement saying that everybody had actually made it through.
So they have to wait a couple months to get their results, and then I imagine those who came close but didn't quite pass will want to make an appeal to get some bonus points for the stress they went through during the cyber attack.
Yeah, and then there's the question of did you fail because you didn't know the material, you weren't able to write well on the essay, all the law stuff, and then I'm sure there will be questions. Did I fail because something went wrong with the software? I looked away. I saw someone tweeting yesterday that just as they started their exam, the second module, after going through all the stress of the no password, the neighbors had a tree service come in and start cutting down a tree. And so they were, so they're trying to concentrate and do that. But did they look at, when the chainsaw started up, did they look away, and did they get knocked for that because the camera captured them glancing away, and someone thought they might be looking at someone else or at some notes. So I think there's going to be a lot of questions about, particularly for those people who didn't pass. Did I not pass because I did something wrong with the law, or because my eyes were only on the computer camera for 95% of the time?
All right, David, Jesse, great story. It's in the Free Press. Thanks for joining us on the Paul W. Smith Show, and come back when the results come in.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Much more coming up after the break. Let's check in with Dana Clark in traffic.
This report is sponsored by the podcast Forgotten, Women of Juarez. The new podcast, Forgotten, Women of Juarez, investigates a series of murders that have haunted the U.S.-Mexico border for almost 30 years. To find out more, listen to Forgotten, Women of Juarez, wherever you get your podcasts.
5 southbound after East Holly Road, accident blocks the left shoulder. Southbound 75 after Sashabaw, the right shoulder is blocked. Gettys Road, eastbound and westbound between North Dixboro and Superior Road, still closed as police investigate that MSP trooper crash this morning. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Gordon Chevrolet. Gordon Chevrolet, where you pick out the vehicle you would love to drive and receive a worksheet with 18 different purchase and lease payments for you to choose from. You do this from the comfort of their outdoor showroom and covered patio seating. Gordon Chevrolet on Ford Road, just west of Merriman in Garden City. GordonChevrolet.com. Gordon Chevrolet, find new roads.
A little wet weather around this morning. Better chance north and south. Clouds and sunshine otherwise. A few showers, thunderstorms try to fire this afternoon. 84. Tonight, some clouds, cooler. Just like to call it that. 65. Tomorrow, clouds, sun in the morning. More clouds later. At a high of 83. From a Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
As the auto industry.
Hey, Kev.
Yeah.
Just checking in to let you know that at 7:18, Linda Kenyon is going to do, from Westwood One, is going to do the wrap up with you on the bar.
I got to do a read there too, or did I already miss it?
I don't know. Let's see what he says.
Out of weather. I'm doing a read.
All right, hang on. I'll wait.
For 3.5% of U.S. light vehicle sales.
I missed
it. In 2019.
You could get out of this, right?
Buyers typically have the ability for more cars per household and more discretionary income. Yet sales of premium coupes and convertibles decreased by about 34% since 2015.
I think I'm supposed to intro that.
Sales of premium sedans, which typically provide underpinnings for specialty variants, declined
Market Minute billboard.
Yeah.
Against today's backdrop of falling volume, premium coupes and convertibles may ultimately be sacrificed. I'm Stephanie Brinley with an IHS Market Minute.
And this week's IHS Market Minute with Stephanie Brinley was brought to you by Oria. Oria builds quiet, comfortable, durable into your vehicle.
With a lineage of proven performance, a collaborative
Very nice, Kev. Linda Kenyon is 718,
Oh, good.
and she'll talk about the.
Linda was one of our missing people from Guy Gordon show the other day.
Hopefully, she'll be here this time.
That's not like Linda.
No. And then at 8:35, Jim Roop.
What time?
8:35.
8:35.
Yes.
Does Dana want to come in on that?
Oh, she'd probably love to. I'll ask her.
She'll know more about it than I will, but, but if she can't, that's fine.
No, I'm sure she'd love to do that. And then Cameron is on the line.
Okay.
And I will go contact Dana for you.
All right. Cool.
All right.
This today. To speak with their COVID-19 response team, call 586-465-4420 or visit newimagebldg.com.
In the market for a new car, truck, SUV, or minivan? Come see what
It's
we
nice to watch the behind the scenes stuff.
at Galling.
I don't know what I'm doing.
My friend Phil Galling here, and with nearly 2,700 new vehicles available, I'm sure we can find something that's just right for you. Right now, qualified Chrysler employees can lease a 2020 Jeep Compass Limited for just $229 a month. Leases for 36 months, 10,000 miles a year with $1,000 down. So again, come see what we can do for you. That's Galling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Bloomfield Hills, Chelsea, Roseville, and online at galling.com.
Have you been told you need spine surgery or just sick of living in pain? The Disc Institute has a proven, painless alternative. If your neck, back, or sciatic pain is due to a herniated, degenerative, or bulging disc, then you actually have two problems. One, your pain, and two, your bad disc. Drugs, therapies, epidurals, and new pain lasers are designed to only treat your pain, but they're not designed to treat your disc problem. And this is crucial because your bad disc is what's causing your pain in the first place. Without addressing your disc problem will get worse, which can ultimately lead to surgery. At the Disc Institute, we have a proven solution to solve both of your problems, your pain and the bad disc that's causing it, with our high-tech, non-invasive treatments. This is what can stop your pain without surgery. We'll even review your MRI for no charge. Call our new Grand Blanc location at 810-881-DISC, 810-881-3472.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Deitz.
It's not easy to follow all of the executive orders coming out of the governor's office, but one that caught my eye is MIOSHA announcement that it is going to be investigating and inspecting restaurants, bars, gas stations, and other retail stores to ensure that businesses are in compliance. So we dialed up Cameron Evans of the Evans Law Group based in Rochester to walk us through what that's going to look like and what that's going to mean. Cam, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, it's great to join you this morning, Kevin. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So when you saw this executive order come down, what was your first reaction?
First reaction is that, the governor is going to take the steps that she can to try to enforce her existing orders. And this technically was not an executive order. This was a directive that the Michigan Occupational Safety and Health Administration, as we commonly call it, MIOSHA, announced. And it's part of their efforts to enforce the governor's executive orders that apply to businesses. And I think that local law enforcement have come out and said, we're not going to enforce the executive order. This has really kind of gotten a lot of more attention recently with the mask initiative or directive and what law enforcement will do. And so there's other agencies out there that can enforce it. MIOSHA being one of them, as they control health and safety in the workplace.
I've covered MIOSHA for decades, and there are not enough MIOSHA inspectors to do the tasks that they already have in front of them. How is a business supposed to know if MIOSHA wants to come and inspect them or investigate them?
Oh, well, they'll know when a MIOSHA investigator walks through the door. And you're right, they have limited resources, so they're certainly not going to be going out and hitting all restaurant, bars, and gas stations. But there's going to be target areas, and you have to assume where the greatest number of cases are right now. So you think of Metro Detroit, you think of the greater Grand Rapids areas. That MIOSHA will be probably putting out their limited investigators to go and target, and that's not meant in a pejorative way, but focus on these types of establishments to make sure that they are following the executive orders. But it certainly is not going to be a wide path of investigators knocking on everybody's door. But if they show up and walk through your door and ask for the boss, businesses, they must be prepared now and not after MIOSHA shows up.
So surprise inspections, likely in places where numbers are high. What does this mean for businesses? I know that bars and restaurants, everybody has been struggling to come back and reopen under these difficult circumstances. What should they be doing now, or what do they need to worry about now?
Well, they need to worry about what the current executive orders require for their particular business industry. So it's like restaurants and bars have their own set of rules from MIOSHA. Retail has its own rules, offices, personal care services. But they need to not only understand what Governor Whitmer's executive orders provide, they need to understand what, in this case, MIOSHA expects businesses to do under those executive orders. So the best thing that a business can do right now is to simply go to the MIOSHA website, which has a lot of very good information on what MIOSHA expects, and go through, find your industry, and they have what is called a reopening checklist. And that's where I would start for all businesses, to make sure that you're complying with the basics. Because this is what the MIOSHA inspector is going to be going through is, hey, this is the MIOSHA reopening checklist for your type of business. Are you in compliance? Do you have a written, COVID-19 preparedness and response plan? Have you, have social distancing markers up? Do you have the new poster that, no mask, no service, no entry? What have you done to train your employees? Because they will walk around after they briefly meet with whoever's in charge of the facility when the inspector shows up, and they will start examining the facility. They'll be able to interview your employees if they want to. They'll take photographs, and you don't have time to react. And that's why, they put these resources out there. They're very detailed. They're helpful. But they're going to say that these have been available, and this is what we expect from MIOSHA of businesses who, from their viewpoint, have the pleasure of operating in Michigan. And they're going to go and grade you on compliance.
We all want everybody to be in compliance. We want everybody to be as safe as possible. Is MIOSHA being given the power to make that impact? Do they have the teeth? Will they be able to shut businesses down, or will these be warnings and fines that may not get the desired impact that the governor wants?
So the MIOSHA is looking, they say the state's purpose is to educate and for compliance. So they want to go out, if they see something wrong in the workplace, they say that their goal is to educate the employer is what's required, and make sure the employer changes whatever practice MIOSHA has a concern about. But if they find that this is a serious violation, or what they classify a willful violation, they can issue fines up to $7,000 per violation, and you could have multiple violations potentially out of one of these visits. The MIOSHA won't go from the standpoint of immediately trying to shut down the business, but as I said, there's other agencies that get involved at times. So you think of the barber up in Owasso. He's licensed through a different agency in Michigan. So if he was found not to be in compliance, through a MIOSHA investigation, that can, lead to his licensing of his, for his personal care services, to be summarily revoked. Or you look at, what happened, with liquor control commissions. If you're a licensed operator as a bar or a restaurant, liquor control commission can come in and do their own independent review. It's a multifaceted potential approach from the state. And I think Governor Whitmer, as I said, she knows local law enforcement are not enforcing her orders for the most part, and that she's going to make sure that other agencies in her administration are doing what they can to ensure compliance, whether, from businesses or from individuals.
Is it already underway, or is it coming soon?
It was announced Monday. I'm involved in one already. And so I think that it's going to, it has started, and it's going to increase as the weeks go on.
All right, Cameron Evans of the Evans Law Group. Thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
My pleasure. Thanks, Kevin.
You bet. All right, let's check in with weather and traffic and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by MGM Grand Detroit. At MGM Grand Detroit, they can't wait to see you again as soon as they're allowed to reopen. When they do, they will look a little different as they've made changes for your health and safety to ensure your first visit back will still be a grand time. In the meantime, be safe, stay healthy, and remember to always mask up.
So some good news out there. 2 accidents are now clear. 75 southbound after Sashabaw, clear. Also southbound 75 after East Holly Road. That accident is clear. Crews are still on the scene investigating an MSP trooper accident. Gettys Road shut down eastbound and westbound between North Dixboro and Superior Road closed there due to that crash. Avoid the area. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Parkway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Attention new car buyers, Parkway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is offering exclusive lease savings on its entire inventory of new Jeep Compasses, Cherokees, and Grand Cherokees during the Jeep Summer Clearance event. Parkway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Hall Road in Clinton Township. Just show up, sign up, and ride. Shower activity.
Hey, Kev.
Yeah.
Your signal is a little bit shaky all of a sudden.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think it would be, have you ever tried like going out and then logging back in and seeing if it helps?
I can move closer to the router.
That might be a good idea.
How much time do we have?
Well, we're going into, you got like 5 minutes.
Okay. Let me move.
All right. Yeah. You do a move and, I'm going to I'll add.
Or inside of your home. It's quick, safe, and easy.
And you know CertaPro Painters does a great job. Just ask WJR's Steve Courtney.
CertaPro Painters took excellent care of me. I had some exterior painting done, and they were on top of their game. They provided a custom project plan, firm estimate, and daily progress reports. You can trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right and safely.
Interior or exterior, residential or commercial, CertaPro can take care of it all. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They're right here in our community.
That's Certa with a C. CertaPro Painters, proven and trusted experts in painting.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 6655 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 6655. Enjoy.
WJR Detroit and WDVD HD2 Detroit. 760 WJR, where Detroit comes to talk.
The big four of the high-tech retail world will be seen together on computer screens today. A House panel will ask for answers from the CEOs about their company's practices. Correspondent Scott Carr reports that company heads will be asked to address issues like quashing competition and free speech.
A House Judiciary Subcommittee panel today set to cap its year-long investigation into antitrust concerns and of market dominance from the leaders of 4 tech giants, Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg, Amazon's Jeff Bezos, Sundar Pichai of Google, and Tim Cook of Apple. Their industry has transformed society, but also mined and commercialized users' personal data, sometimes without users' permission, and infuriated critics on both the left and right over issues of free speech.
Attorney General William Barr appearing before the House lawmakers in a showdown with congressional Democrats. Barr addressed the accusations that he makes decisions based on the interest of President Trump and his friends.
And I can tell you that I've handled criminal matters that have come to me for decision in this way.
Is that better, Ann?
Yeah. Put your screen up just a smidger.
Yeah, I will. I'm
okay. Keep talking to me.
Yeah, testing 1, 2, 3. Check.
Kevin, it's a lot better.
Okay. Well, yeah, I switched to a different. We have two different Wi-Fi's and one
You
for
do?
for different rooms. Yeah. It's a
That's
long house.
interesting.
Yeah. That's different.
Brian says it's much better.
It's much better here. Okay.
Yeah, I had to do that. I only have one router, but I had to move closer to the router too.
I'll just have to put my dog down, and I can barricade myself in that back room. And out here, I have no.
It's
you'll
okay
get to
for
meet
the dog to be involved.
You'll get to meet the family here.
This will be good. We can
great.
add the Deitz family to the stream.
Exactly.
The dog will come first.
Right. Exactly.
So when we come back, you can chat with Dick for a little bit.
Okay, and then throw to.
And then throw to Jeff. Yes. Yep. So you and Dick can chat it up about the news of the day.
All right. Sounds good.
And we could even preview a little bit of what you're going to chat with about the William Barr stuff.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Did you see that Fauci, the latest Dr. Fauci information, that he's now worried, looking at the numbers, that coronavirus is going to surge again in the Midwest?
Yeah, I saw that.
You see that?
Yeah, they think it's trending like Florida and Texas are.
Right. Yeah. The other interesting story too is NFL. All the NFL players, some of them are testing positive from the training.
Right.
So I'm wondering, what do you think about this football?
Not happening.
You don't think? You don't think?
Yeah.
Wait, Big Ten and NFL?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have any of it. I think they kind of are. They're all watching the other sports, and baseball is not off to a good start. And if baseball is having this much trouble, then football just doesn't have a chance. I don't think so.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah,
It's
you guys
gonna
could
be-
talk about that too.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. So, you can't really socially distance in football, right? Isn't that?
No, and that's the thing. It's like someone tests positive, and so whatever, they're a wide receiver. So they've been practicing with all the wide receivers. They've been in the huddle with the quarterback and the running backs and the linemen. So like if one person has it, you have, in theory,
the more likely you are to
15 that are supposed to quarantine.
Right. Yeah, no, it's tough.
Learn more about how we're keeping you safe at beaumont.org/safe.
The 2020 Pure Michigan AG Tour kicks off next week, August 3rd through the 7th. Sponsored by
Yeah,
Pure.
that looks good.
Your
That
trip
looks great.
begins at Michigan.org and Farm Bureau Insurance of Michigan. Find your coverage anywhere in Michigan at farmbureauinsurance.com.
Have you seen Carmelito Greco's attack ad against Erica Saki? The Detroit Free Press has, and they say the ad is false. Why is Greco making false attacks against Erica Saki? To hide the fact that she campaigns with never-Trumpers, funds gun control Democrats, and partners with pro-abortion Hollywood celebrities. Carmelita Greco is trying to hide her own bad record. Erica Saki is the real conservative outsider. The grassroots Michigan Republican Assembly hails Asaki as the best choice to defeat Democrat Haley Stevens. And the Trump campaign even endorsed Asaki's successful lawsuit against Governor Whitmer. Stop the socialist agenda of big taxes and government-run healthcare. Vote Eric Asaki for Congress. He's pro-life, pro-parents' rights, pro-Second Amendment, and pro-secure borders. Paid for by Asaki for Congress Committee.
I'm Eric Asaki, and I approve this message.
New Image Building Services has experienced mitigating biohazard and virus outbreaks like COVID-19. They validate their services to ensure your facility is clean and disinfected. Go to newimagebldg.com to create a safer, healthier work environment for your company.
From the great voice of the Great Lakes, this is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Deitz filling in for Paul.
It is 7:07 on this 29th day of July. Welcome back to the Paul W. Smith Show. Thanks for stopping by on WJR 760. We are also on Facebook Live and YouTube. If you want to check out the behind the scenes action, go to one of those spots or just stay right on the dial, 760 a.m. Joining us now is Dick Hafner. Dick, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, Kevin. I couldn't be better. 100%.
100%. I'm up to 100% as well. So we should really be cooking with fire right now. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your thoughts. Governor Gretchen Whitmer had a press conference yesterday. She said that we need to get more federal aid. We need to work together. We also saw Dr. Fauci say that the Midwest is likely to be the next hot spot for massive increases in COVID cases. And I'm just wondering if you think those two things are related, or are you anticipating a spike as well? Do you think that the science and the numbers are correct?
Well, the two things are related, and the governor connected them. Now, she did spend most of her time Republicans for what she thought was the lack of a good stimulus package proposal on their part, but she linked all that to the state budget deficit that is coming up, $3 billion plus for the next fiscal year, caused by the COVID-19. She says the Michigan and the other states need a bailout. And then the governor did get into another warning about doing all the things that we've been told that we must do. And the governor seemed to, between the lines, not a direct fusillade frontal attack, but on the possibility of in-person classes. But she suggested that, well, if things do get worse in Michigan and in the Midwest, she may have to go back and do something about her orders regarding the start of classes in the school year. And she did indicate that the districts will have the choice of doing online or in person. So it looks to me, Kevin, just sounding from what she said yesterday, that we're going to have more districts doing online only than perhaps we have thought here in the last month or so.
Yeah, and coming up a little later on the show, we're going to have the president of a local college who's going to tell us what their plan is to make things safe for students and teachers and staff. And it's interesting because there's a lot of things that they're doing in preparation of opening schools and having kids in the classroom. But then when you see the governor's office preparing for what looks like another wave of bad numbers and bad news, and you see some of the actions that they're talking about and taking, it makes you wonder if they're going to start taking two steps back again, and if the public's ready for it.
Well, the public may have to get ready for it, because behind the scenes, a lot of health officials, and they're the ones that are the primary ones, right, that are watching all this closely. The health officials and hospital executives and hospital administrators in our area are saying some of them are saying that they expect the governor to come back soon and double down on some of her old orders, that there may be an emphasis of business closings, of going back, of closing part of the economy, and that would of course affect what will happen in the schools in the fall. So that's what some of them are saying, and I'm hearing that from them.
Yeah, so as a lot of the water cooler conversation is about baseball opening up without fans and them worrying about teams shutting down, or maybe the season shutting down, or will the NFL be able to play, or will college football be able to play? People may be keeping a closer eye on the governor's office to find out if their workplace is going to shut down again. It's
Exactly.
getting very serious.
Exactly. If there's another economic shutdown or a partial shutdown, baseball and football and hockey will be the least of our worries.
All right, Dick Hafner, thanks for checking in with us. We're going to go and check in with Jeff Sloan, now founder and CEO of Startup Nation, who spotlights the entrepreneurial tech and startup community right here on WJR.
Good morning, Kevin. Wondering whether or not investors are investing in startups during the COVID-19 crisis? Well, they are in this one, and investors include Detroit's own Ludlow Ventures. The total investment round, $51 million into this hot company, and that company is Density, based in San Francisco. They make sensors to monitor the number of people entering and exiting a room or building or a space for the purpose of understanding how many people are in that space at any given time. This has obviously become important information during the COVID-19 crisis as we keep social distancing top of mind. Density's website indicates that they build the technical infrastructure for cities, spaces, and buildings to measure how they're being used. Brands using the platform include the likes of Pepsi, Verizon, Fidelity, and 100 other big-name brands. Density's CEO, Andrew Farah, says regarding headcount control, this was an important and material thing for those that led large real estate portfolios wanting to know how spaces were used. But now, during the pandemic, this has become a Main Street issue, and so has Density's product and corresponding revenues. While Farah declined to give specifics on revenue and valuation, he says new bookings grew 493% in the quarter beginning February compared to the quarter prior, as reported in Fortune magazine. So if you're wondering if venture money is flowing into startup companies during the COVID-19 pandemic and economic crisis associated with it, well, look no further than Density and our own Ludlow Ventures making a significant investment into the company. I'm Jeff Sloan, founder and CEO of StartupNation.com, and that's today's Business Beat on the great voice of the Great Lakes, WJR.
This report is sponsored by the podcast True Romance.
Hi, I'm Devin Leary. And I'm Carolina Barlow. And we're here to tell you to dump him.
Break up with your boyfriend.
It's time.
Find True Romance wherever you get your podcasts to find out why.
Traffic First also sponsored by Parkway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Attention new car buyers. Parkway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is offering exclusive.
You see that?
Yeah.
Is Greg the attorney?
Yeah, for the tweeter teacher.
The tweeter teacher, yes. Well, we definitely want to put him on. How do
Yeah.
do you want to move him, or do you want to do both here?
Do
It's up
we have an open spot for him or no?
Well, yeah, we could put him at 8:05 if Brian wanted to ask him if he could.
Okay, see if he can call back at 8:05. If not, we can take him here.
All right, Brian, I think you can hear us. Let's see what he tells us, Kev. He says, "Hold on."
And if not, we can start with him
Yeah.
and then just pop out and take Linda a couple minutes in.
Sure.
I can do them both here, no problem.
Right? Yeah, I know you can. You're good like that.
We figure it out.
Absolutely. I'm glad he's there. He's filed a lawsuit, right?
Yeah, he's filing one. Yeah.
He's fine. Okay.
Well, I don't have him in my stuff either. Although I know we talked. About
I know
him
we talked
sometime.
about him early, but then there's so much. There's just so much to book. It's easy to book shows during COVID, Kev. No end of things you can talk about.
Exactly. I'll find this little.
Okay, I'll let you look for yours.
Yeah, just let me know what he says.
Okay.
Everything. Serving Michigan students is a Lawrence Tech specialty. You can live on campus or at home and earn one of America's most coveted college degrees. Explore some 100 programs for cutting-edge skills and careers. Reserve your spot at ltu.edu.
Michigan Economic Development Corporation is committed to helping businesses in our state during the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond. If you own a business, MEDC has dedicated programs and resources available to you now. These include small business support, access to capital, entrepreneur resources, and buyer and supplier matchmaking. Find support today at michiganbusiness.org/pure.
Hey, Kev.
Yeah.
Greg's going to move to 8:05.
Okay, great.
But you'll have to take him to lunch.
Yeah. Now we're moving them to 9:05 now.
That's the trade-off.
I'm moving them to 9:05.
Knows how important your home is to you. They're taking precautions recommended by public health officials to help keep you and the painting team safe.
Very cool stuff, too, like free remote estimates for painting the outside or inside of your home. It's quick, safe, and easy.
And you know CertaPro Painters does a great job. Just ask WJR's Steve Courtney.
CertaPro Painters took excellent care of me. I had some exterior painting done, and they were on top of their game. They provided a custom project plan, firm estimate, and daily progress reports. You can trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right and safely.
Interior or exterior, residential or commercial, CertaPro can take care of it all. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. They're right here in our community.
That's Certa with a C. CertaPro Painters, proven and trusted experts in painting.
Do you know you might be overpaying for your Medicare supplement plan? Do you get lost in an alphabet maze of plans like A, B, C, D, and G, F? Would you like help getting out of the maze and finding the very best plan for you? We are experienced Medigap agents at Health IQ, and we are on a mission to give people like you fair and square Medigap rates. Health IQ is the only insurance agency that rewards seniors proactively working on their health, like eating right and exercising. You don't have to be an athlete to save money. We reward healthy lifestyles of all kinds. Do you take your vitamins and supplements? Do you stay active and in the know about things that impact your health? If so, you could save money with Health IQ. Let us help you take care of your Medicare supplement needs. To see if you qualify for exclusive savings on Medicare supplement insurance, go to healthiq.com/Medigap. To start saving, go to healthiq.com/Medigap. That's HEALTHIQ.com/MEDIGAP.
Health IQ is an agency offering plans from different insurance carriers. No government or Medicare affiliation. Coverage and special rates not available in all counties or cases.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Deitz.
William Barr testified before the House Judiciary Committee, and he said violent rioters and anarchists have hijacked legitimate protests. He argued the violence taking place in Portland, Oregon, and in other cities around the country is not connected with George Floyd's killing. It's something else entirely. Joining us now on the phone is correspondent Linda Kenyon. Linda, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Oh, happy to be here. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, so a little earlier in the show, we played about a 4-minute clip of one of the lawmakers giving it to Barr about the state of Michigan and some activities and protests that took place here up at the state capitol against our governor. And it sort of was a clip, but it could have been almost any clip of the day. It seemed like William Barr was just berated for much of the day without being able to talk too much. Did we learn anything throughout the day following these hearings?
Well, we learned that William Barr has a temper. It was more than a hearing of more than 6 hours, and he was grilled constantly on several different issues, not the least of which, although one of the most prominent issues being the use of federal troops to quell protests, or as some of the Democrats on the committee said, to ignite protests around the country. That these protests started out as Black Lives Matter protests against racial injustice following the death of George Floyd. And the Attorney General says they've morphed into something else. And the Democrats have been saying, well, that's because you sent in federal troops. And as these things were winding down, the appearance of federal troops just ignited more angst and more protests. And so the Attorney General said, well, we needed federal troops in some of these cities because local police weren't doing their job. And he said, we're on the defense. We're not going out there looking for trouble. But when trouble finds us, we will respond. And the response, of course, has been a point of major contention. Rubber bullets, tear gas or other chemical agents, use of truncheons, beatings of protesters, all of which have been caught on video. And again, the Attorney General did vigorously defend those tactics.
Yeah, in watching for the parts that I watched, it seemed like, the Democrats were saying this is peaceful protesters who are being agitated by federal officers, and Republicans are saying that these are federal officers defending federal property, and they just could not see the same series of events more differently. They all have access to the same videos that we're seeing, and probably the truth is there's a little of both going on. But do you think this was just William Barr being able to say, this is how we're going to do it, we're going to continue to do it this way, and there's not much you can do about it?
Well, he did say that federal troops will protect federal property. And he gave the example, for instance, he said, how would it be okay? This is one of the times where he raised his voice. Would it be okay if protesters threw kerosene balloons inside the Prettyman Courthouse, which is the name of the courthouse at the base of the hill of Capitol Hill, a federal courthouse in Washington, D.C.? And he said, would that be okay if they set fire to that beautiful courthouse? Would that be okay? And he said that federal officials have a duty, federal marshals have a duty to defend federal property. Of course, Democrats and demonstrators who have been at some of these protests have said, we were peaceful, and you guys acted above and beyond, and you created this situation. And there is a lot of footage, for example, in Portland, where federal troops are beating various protesters, and not the least of which are members of the media with cameras. And so it's all documented. And as you rightly point out, people can look at the same video and see different things.
Another thing that caught my eye was the testimony on election rigging. Democrats seeming to say that the Republicans want to discourage people from voting, and Republicans saying that they're concerned with absentee balloting or voting by mail. How did William Barr come out on this?
Well, he said that he believes that there is a potential for fraud in mail-in voting, which has been the president's position. The president brought that up months and months ago. And many critics have said he's doing that to lay the groundwork in case he wants to cry foul on the results of the election should he lose. Democrats pointing out that mail-in voting is safe given the pandemic right now, and not forcing people to rest their lives by going to vote in person to exercise their constitutional rights to vote. And so there is a huge gulf between both sides on that. The Attorney General acknowledging he has voted absentee from time to time. So has the president, by the way. And but they say that's okay because absentee balloting is meant for people who cannot be in their states where they're registered to vote on election day, or are otherwise traveling, or have various other reasons for not voting, for not voting in person, and that there should not be a blanket absentee or mail-in voting system in America.
How do you think William Barr held up when questioned about showing favoritism towards Donald Trump supporters like Roger Stone and Michael Flynn?
He maintains that there is not a two-tier system of justice in America, one for Trump and his friends and one for everybody else. He says that he has not been unduly influenced at all by the president, and his tweeting, which at one point the Attorney General did tell the president to knock it off, that it was making it hard for him to do his job. The issue, Roger Stone, a close Trump associate and friend of the president, who the Attorney General intervened on his sentence for lying to the FBI and various other witness intimidation and various other crimes for which he was convicted. The president, by the way, commuted his sentence, and the Attorney General had lowered his sentence initially. And his response was that Roger Stone is a 65-year-old man or 68-year-old man, and you're going to put him in prison for 9 years or more. That could be a life sentence. And he said that was not right. By the way, that intervention on the part of the Attorney General led to the resignation of several U.S. attorneys who were involved in the case and involved in the prosecution.
All right, Linda Kenya, thanks for joining us on the Paul W. Smith Show. We'll, I know you're covering the big tech, 4 big tech CEOs are testifying before a different House panel in Congress today. So we'll want to check back with you tomorrow and see how that went.
That sounds good. Thank you.
All right, let's check in with traffic and weather and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by the podcast True Romance. True Romance is the podcast for anyone who loves listening to two girls talk about falling in love and then taking a baseball bat to your aquarium tank. Buckle in, folks, and listen to True Romance with Carolina Barlow and Devin Leary wherever you listen to podcasts.
Seeing a 30-minute delay for trucks across the Blue Water Bridge westbound between Canada and the U.S. and in Ann Arbor. Getty's Road still shut down for an accident investigation between North Dixboro and Superior Road. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Liberty Title. Protecting property since 1974. Unless your realtor can guarantee their office is secured, use a bank or title company. $2 billion a year is lost to cybercrime and identity thefts and real estate transactions. Liberty Title's umbrella program ensures and secures your closing dollars. You have a choice. Choose libertytitle.com. Partly cloudy, 72 degrees. We are expecting some storms later this afternoon. That window from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. could see gusty winds and small hail possible, a high of 83. Tonight, a few clouds, low 66. Partly cloudy on Thursday and a high of 82. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Dick Hafner in about 2 minutes.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
I'm Joe Gannon. Do you know the best washer and dryer made today? What comes from China or Korea? And what was manufactured in the good old USA? You're going to find out when I return this weekend.
Giving tips and advice on home appliances and helping consumers for 36 years. Joe Gannon is the appliance doctor on the Home and Appliance Show. Weekend morning 6 to 8 on News Talk 760 WJR.
As a Lawrence Technological University graduate, you're not only marketable, you're worth more. Yes, more. According to Payscale.com, when it comes to graduate salaries, LTU is in America's top 100. Be invaluable. Be more. At LTU, possible is everything.
Serving Michigan students is a Lawrence Tech specialty. You can live on campus or at home and earn one of America's most coveted college degrees. Explore some 100 programs for cutting-edge skills and careers. Reserve your spot at ltu.edu.
Michigan health officials reporting 669 new cases of COVID-19 and 16 deaths. The total is 79,176 for the state of Michigan and 6,170 deaths since the start of the pandemic, according to the state officials. The governor says more money is needed from Washington to help states ravaged by the coronavirus, and she went after Republicans.
With the start of the school year a little more than a month away, Washington continues to debate on another COVID-19 relief package for the states. Governor Whitmer is urging lawmakers in the nation's capital to make a deal.
I can tell you that the plan they put on the table does not accomplish the goal of helping states. And I implore everyone in Washington, D.C. to stop the partisanship and get something done.
Whitmer has warned schools will not reopen and she'll force more businesses to close if the COVID case numbers increase. But President Trump said federal.
All set, Kev? You need anything?
Oh no, I've been busy this morning.
You are very busy this morning. We're making you work hard today.
I know. I'm not playing with our friends on Facebook Live much. They're just making them all talk amongst
They're
themselves.
chatting amongst themselves.
That's
They
good.
have a lot
Jim
to
and
say today.
Brian, we appreciate you being here. Patrick, Clay's here. We got all kinds of people here. We're just not interacting like normal because
We've got way too much
I had to
going on.
move. I had to.
It's weird. It's
So
a lot.
It's
There's a lot of comments here. They don't like the idea of any mention of shutting back down again.
I know. I mean, that's really my takeaway from that press conference the governor had. She keeps saying, "Hey, you have to do this. You have to do this. You have to do this, or there's going to be some consequences." It's a little frightening that may be the way we're headed. That conversation with Dick was really interesting, and I certainly don't want to take any steps backwards. I'd like to move forward even more, but I don't know that we're going there. She's been very adamant about following what her medical experts have been telling her.
Mm-hmm. And she has. I mean, in fairness, we have kept our numbers down.
Oh yeah,
I mean, we were
I'm
in
not.
terrible shape, right?
Yeah, she's got the job. She's got to make those decisions, and at the end of the day, everyone will be evaluated. But her numbers have looked good. Her popularity has been high on this. I mean, her support's in the mid to high 60s.
Right.
I think she's doing a good job, and you can't argue with trying to save lives. It's brutal on the economy, though. I mean,
I know.
it's very easy to see both sides of the argument, but man, the thought of moving backwards to a lot of people is really too much. Just especially young people, people under the age of 50. They're like, I want to go. I want the right to choose
what I want to do,
to put myself at risk, if that's what you're saying I'm doing.
Right. And I mean, I'm not a medical expert, but I think if we kept the way we were right now for a little bit, we wouldn't have to move back. I mean, you know what I mean? Just wear a mask.
If it's to get to the vaccine, if it's hold on till the vaccine comes, and the vaccine's coming in 6 months, maybe, but I don't know. Is the vaccine really going to allow us to go back to the way we were or not? I don't know.
No, but you know why? Because initially a lot of people aren't going to take it. I mean, they're skeptical about it. They're worried about it. They think it might be pushed through too fast. So that's going to be another issue.
Well, and there's still that argument of the death rate being, less than 1% of people who catch COVID dying, makes a lot of people say, I take bigger risks than that every day. Just, driving to work or whatever. Maybe not driving to work, but
that is, well, it's interesting you say that, because we had a doctor on Monday. We did the whole show on going back to school. And this doctor was excellent, very interesting interview. But he was saying that he said, hey, you and your kids take a lot of risks on a daily basis, just living. And one of them was driving. And he said, I think if you're careful and you do the right thing, the kids can go back to school in some areas. In the areas where the virus is not under control, you can't put them back to school yet. But in the areas where it is under control, you can start doing the right thing, being very careful, and letting them go back to school.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of doctors who say that the kids are safe. It's whether the teachers will get sick or not.
Right.
And then it's whether the teachers will infect the kids, although the kids don't get infected a lot. But who's going to bring it back to grandma and grandpa? And that's what keeps coming back. The elderly parents, the elderly grandparents, how do you keep them safe? But they, if you separate them, that shouldn't interfere with going back to school. Or the bubble. These sports teams are doing the bubble, the basketball and hockey, the bubble's working. People who go into the bubble without the virus and stay in the bubble don't have a problem.
Is it hungerfreesummer.org?
You have some sort of
hungerfreesummer.org.
Yeah, you're right.
For school.
Zen is there.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Deitz.
Governmental immunity. Those are two words you do not want to hear if you are filing a lawsuit. It usually means the government cannot be held responsible. Well, a local attorney has won a ruling saying in this case, government immunity does not apply. Joining us on the Paul W. Smith Show is Ven Johnson. Ven, thanks for being on the show.
Morning, Kevin. How are you?
Good. I want to start by giving you an opportunity to just tell the sad, tragic story of what happened in this case before we get into the legal rulings.
Okay, Kevin, very briefly, my client, Mark Goss, 58-year-old guy, outdoor guy, loves snowmobiling. He was a rifle marksman champion, actually national champion, state champion. And he was out enjoying a snowmobile ride when, unfortunately, DNR, so Department of Natural Resource Ranger, by the name of Mr. Peterson, was driving what's called a Gator, Gator, a John Deere Gator. So it's like a four-wheel vehicle, Kevin. And Ranger Peterson was grooming a cross-country ski path, if you will. And for the Ranger's way of traffic, if you will, there was a stop sign because, as we all know, these snowmobiles go a lot faster than people on skis. So they want the cross-country skiers to stop and yield, if you will, like at a stop sign, to the snowmobile path. The snowmobilers had no traffic signs or anything. So that means my client had the right of way. Unfortunately, the ranger pulled out in front of my client, Kevin, and the ranger on the back of his vehicle was carrying propane gas. And it was a huge ball of fire. The ranger unfortunately died, and my client lived, Kevin, but had over 50% burns to his body, multiple fractures, and literally burned off fingers and parts of his arm and arms, plural. And my client will never be able to work again. He'll never be able to do any of the activities. He can't even hold a rifle anymore.
Tragic for everyone involved, honestly. But so then the legal issue came up where, and you walk us through this because I'm not a lawyer, but sure. They were claiming governmental immunity for this DNR ranger, correct?
Right. They are, and here's what governmental means to non-lawyer folks. You can't sue the government, Kevin, unless they say you can. As crazy as that sounds, as anti-American as far as I'm concerned as that sounds. But so the government here in Michigan you can't sue the state of Michigan. And the DNR ranger is, of course, an employee of the state of Michigan, unless you fit into one or two of these exceptions. And one of the exceptions is a government-owned vehicle. So think about this. If there's a police car clearly owned by a governmental agency, given to a police officer who's clearly driving in the course and scope of his employment, and he or she is negligent and injure any one of us, you would sue under the, quote, government vehicle exception to governmental immunity. Translation, government vehicle was being driven negligently and you hurt me. In this particular case, that is the exception that we sued under in the Court of Claims here that is now in Lansing, and that is actually being presided over by a Michigan Court of Appeals judge, Judge Michael Kelly. And what happens is we filed a lawsuit, and instead of going through the process, taking depositions, getting more information about this case and so forth, the state of Michigan, through the Attorney General's office, and of course at that time was Attorney General Schuette, they defended this case. And people got to remember, Kevin, this is your and my tax dollar that is being utilized to defend lawsuits against a victim who did nothing wrong. They filed this motion and said, Judge, throw this case out of court. A gator, a four-wheel vehicle gator, is not a, quote, motor vehicle, end quote, under this law. Judge Kelly says, wrong. Yes, it is. Go on and move on your path toward trial. The state of Michigan, folks don't quite know, is when they get denied a motion under governmental immunity, they go on this thing called a rocket docket. Translation, they don't have to wait in line, Kevin, like the rest of the appeals already pending. They get an automatic right of appeal to the Michigan Court of Appeals. So we filed this case back in 2018, and we just got this opinion within the last few days. So delay, defend, deny by our state government, clearly at fault here. And luckily, the Michigan Court of Appeals, in a unanimous decision, upheld Judge Kelly and said, for the purposes of the governmental vehicle exception, a gator is a motor vehicle. Head on toward trial, y'all.
So are other vehicles not considered vehicles? Are off-road vehicles or some other vehicles not? Is that what were they trying to get them categorized as something else that doesn't meet
Exactly. And what's very interesting when they analyze, and Judge Kelly did the same thing when it was before him, but in essence, what the issue was, where they kind of pulled it all apart, they say the question here is whether the gator is more like a tractor and an excavator. Those things have been found to be, quote, a motor vehicle, end quote, under this exception, as opposed to something else, if you will, like a golf cart or a forklift, where in those cases, the courts said these are not a motor vehicle under this exception. So that's really what they were looking at. And they said in this particular case, a gator, a four-wheel vehicle, which of course is utilized as part of all sorts of things, but you can see them on farms and so forth. And so of course it's more like a tractor and excavator. It's not even a close call. And that's why we thought was really sad, if you will, and a horrible use of taxpayer money to defend the lawsuit against one of your own citizens, one of your own taxpayers, who likewise is paying, if you will, for your salary in the Michigan Attorney General's office, to take these defensive positions and delay this case by over 2 years, and to have my client going through 40 different procedures and all over millions of dollars of medical care, Kevin, and they just are denying the inevitable. So we're calling upon Attorney General Nessel to do like she's done in other situations, to step forward and do the right thing like she always does.
And so now there's some case law for other people who go to file suits. You still have some work to do, though, right? You still have to take this thing to trial or settle it, right?
Well, absolutely. And because they filed this motion, Kevin, from the beginning, there's been no depositions. They haven't even started doing the real work that needs to be done. They've just delayed the inevitable for over 2 years, which, by the way, so all of us taxpayers out there know that we get added interest. If we get a jury verdict, we're going to get interest because of the delay that the government has created here. Again, it just doesn't make any fiscal sense whatsoever. And what's important is exactly what I think you said. There are going to be other cases where the government folks are operating their so imagine a tractor, Kevin. Let's just talk about a tractor. You get hit by someone driving a tractor on behalf of the state who's mowing the lawn or what and so forth, and it's all their fault. You're going to end up going through the same thing as my client did right here to see, is a tractor more like a tractor? Is a tractor more like it's ridiculous.
All right, give our best to Mr. Goss and his family. Venn Johnson, president of Venn Johnson Law, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Appreciate you, Kevin. Have a great day, everybody.
All right. Let's check weather and traffic with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If finding a high-impact hire is a serious goal for your business, use Indeed. Their flexible payment options mean better bang for your buck with no long-term contracts. Indeed will even give you a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post at Indeed.com/high-impact. Terms and conditions apply.
Minor delays along 94 eastbound between 96 and the Lodge. Getty's Road still shut down both directions for an accident investigation between North Dixboro and Superior Road. Please avoid the area. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Guernsey Farms Dairy. Celebrate 80 years with Guernsey this summer at your local grocer. From their award-winning milk, ice cream, and lemonade, they are a true Michigan summer tradition. Guernsey is excited to announce their newly remodeled restaurant in Northville, now open Wednesday through Sunday. For more info, visit GuernseyFarmsDairy.com. That's GuernseyFarmsDairy.com.
A disturbance pushing through this morning and make a clip with a couple of showers, maybe a thunderstorm, especially just to the north. And a few showers, thunderstorms scattered around this afternoon. Hours of dry weather, 84. Partial clouds tonight, 65. More clouds gathering tomorrow afternoon with a high of 83. On the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
The ultimate mobile device doesn't fit in your pocket, and it weighs more than a ton. It's your car. At Continental, we're shaping the future of mobility by making vehicles smarter than ever. As one of the world's top tech companies, we're combining our expertise in automated driving and connectivity to make a better world for everyone. In the future, vehicles will be connected to much more than your smartphone. They will link seamlessly to other vehicles, the cloud, and the infrastructure. Long highway drives will become stress-free and can be put to good use. Vehicles can be summoned to meet you outside the parking garage. Intelligent intersections will alert you to hidden dangers, and driverless shuttles will be commonplace. Continental's advancements are helping to create new possibilities to make driving more efficient, safer, and more comfortable. For more, visit Continental.com. Continental Automotive, the future in motion.
Hey! Mark and Cheryl here with Rhino Shield Ceramic House Coatings, asking the question that every homeowner wants to know.
How can I put an end to exterior maintenance once and for all?
For most people, exterior home maintenance is an unwelcome summer tradition, but not for the
Chris?
thousands of homeowners who chose Rhino Shield Permanent Ceramic House Coatings.
See you here.
They never have to paint again.
Painting one last time is great, but what about the other summer chores like cleaning the garage?
I'm glad you asked. Rhino Shield now offers concrete coatings that'll make that chore more bearable in the future. Make your garage floor sparkle with our low-maintenance concrete coating.
So why doesn't everyone call Rhino Shield for a maintenance-free exterior? Those who haven't are probably wondering the same thing.
They should probably call right away for a free quote and no contact consultation. What's the number?
248-814-7600.
That's 248-814-7600 or online at rhinoshieldmi.com.
Attention new car buyers. The Jeep summer clearance is in full swing at Parkway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Our entire inventory of Jeep SUVs, including Compass, Cherokee, and Grand Cherokees, for sale price for immediate delivery. We have hundreds to choose from. And Parkway's also offering exclusive lease deals on our selection of award-winning Ram pickups. Big savings on the one you want. Parkway's early out program gets you out of any lease with a $3,000 or less payoff, no problem. Parkway offers $2,000 more for your trade-in. The appraised value plus an extra $2,000. And Parkway's inventory of certified pre-owned vehicles is also sale price. We'll buy your vehicle even if we don't sell you a new one. See George and he'll buy it for cash. Our showroom is completely sanitized hourly for your safety. Stop in, call, or go online and make an appointment for a VIP showing. Parkway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Hall Road in Clinton Township. To show up, sign up, and ride. Open Saturday 10 to 3. See dealer for details at parkwaycpj.com. 24/7.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Deitz.
If you're a baseball fan, you know the Tigers are above 500. They're 3-2 on the year so far, and that's pretty good news. The problem is, how long will baseball be around? Is it going to get canceled? We're seeing all kinds of problems around the country. No fans in the stands. If you're a fan of baseball, you got to watch on TV or on the internet. You're not able to go to the game. I was watching some of the reporters on social media posting pictures and stories and their experiences from opening day. And I just wanted to get a hold of one of the reporters and bring them on and talk a little bit about what it was like to be at opening day this year, be in the ballpark without any fans, the business of baseball and what it's all like. And Kurt Nagel of Cranes Straight Business was kind enough to join us today. Kurt, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kevin.
Yeah, so it sure was odd watching opening day and all the pictures and tweets from around town, all the places that are usually bustling, pretty much empty, and then to see inside the park with these players in that opening day, we got creamed. There was a lot of home run balls, but no fans trying to catch them or chasing after them. What was your experience like?
Well, foul balls are a lot less fun when there aren't people fighting over them. I can tell you that. No, you're right. It was an interesting day. I mean, it was probably the most memorable and forgettable opening days in the history of Tigers baseball. On the field, there was some compelling ball on the Tigers half in the beginning, and then obviously we let that get away from us. But the concourse was dark. Outside of the stadium was very quiet, and especially compared to years past where it's an unofficial holiday in the city of Detroit. So definitely a very different feel this year.
Were there absolutely no concession stands open?
Yeah, there was nothing. It was kind of eerie just walking around. It was quite quiet and nothing going on except around the field, what you saw on TV.
So did you watch the game? What was that experience like? Was it like watching batting practice, or was it like more like watching a real game just without anybody near you?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a lot different. You can hear the players banter, talk back and forth. The crack of the ball is a lot louder. And, at one point there was a broken bat, and that was pretty ear-splitting sound. There was piped in fake audience music, and then there was still walk-up music, and there was still all the in-game entertainment that, a fan would normally see if they were watching a regular game. But there were 41,000 empty seats, so there's nobody there to watch in person.
So what about all those advertisements that people pay for, businesses pay for to put their name up in the stadium? Are those up?
Yeah, everything, all the signage is up, and then for people watching on TV, you can see some sponsors superimpose. You know, you have, I think it was Meyer and McLaren the other night on the pitcher's mound. So all the activations are still up. There's still the Chevy fountain in center field. That's one of the benefits of at least being able to play baseball. It's an income stream that's still open, you know, for the Ilitch organization. They can still make good on some of these sponsor deals. They can still generate some revenue from television as well.
How do you think the TV ratings are going to be? I know there's a lot of curiosity right now, probably more people watching than may have otherwise watched. But, you know, as the games go on, do you think they're going to be entertaining enough to draw ratings?
I mean, I think that all depends on how the Tigers play. Obviously, if they, you know, show any sign of life, I think there's going to be a lot of people tuning in because the shortened 60-game season is going to be an absolute sprint to the finish line. So I think it's going to be, you know, it's going to lure more viewers. But then again, if they start tanking, then, you know, people aren't going to be interested.
And remind me what happened with players' salaries. Are they getting reduced based on the number of games?
Yeah, that's right. So the MLB franchises are playing about 37% of the normal season. So the players' union and the league and franchise owners came to an agreement to pay 37% of the salaries. So that's about, you know, $37 million on the typical $100 million payroll for the Tigers.
And do you know if any of the workers are getting paid? Obviously, there's no need to have seat attendants and those concession stand workers and all the people you see usually working around the stadium. Obviously, they're not needed. Do you know if they're just out or?
Yeah, so the concession workers and, you know, the vendors and the for facilities management and the janitors have largely been laid off. At first, we all thought this was going to be a much shorter, you know, experience, and that, you know, these layoffs are going to be temporary. But that's obviously turned into sort of an indefinite situation. You know, and sports teams and entertainment venues are looking at the reality that there might not be fans, you know, in stadiums for another year, if not longer.
Boy, you know, just watching the buildup around the stadiums in Detroit of all the restaurants and bars and clothing stores that have popped up in that area. You said there just weren't many people around for the games. I got to believe that a lot of their yearly income comes from game nights and people being down there.
Oh, sure. I mean, there's not really a real reason for people to be downtown. You know, most of the office workers are still working from home, so you lose your lunch business. No games, no concert venues are allowing people inside, so you lose that nightlife. These bars are hurting, and they're only going to be able to hold on for so long. So, you know, hopefully there's a vaccine. Hopefully things can get back to normal, and you know, we can watch baseball as usual and go downtown and hang out as usual. And, you know, it just remains to be seen when it'll be.
Well, you're one of the few rare people who got an opportunity to have opening day pretty much all to yourself. An amazing experience, really. I did see some people standing outside the stadium, like you would any year, you know, trying to sneak a peek from the streets. But other than that, there's only a few of you folks there, and a very interesting day at the ballpark for sure.
Yeah, well, I hope it's the last time. I hope next year it's just like years past.
Yeah. All right, Kurt. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. I know we'll want to check in a couple of months to see how those businesses around the stadium are doing, how many were able to stay open, how many closed down. So we will be checking back with you this summer, if that's okay.
Absolutely, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
All right, you bet. Let's take a quick break and check in with Dana Clark on traffic and weather.
This report is sponsored by the podcast, The Daily Zeitgeist.
The Daily Zeitgeist is a podcast from the world's smartest and funniest comics and writers. It gets you caught up on the day's news without grinding you down. Twice a day, they discuss all you need to know without crushing your soul. Listen to the Daily Zeitgeist wherever you listen to podcasts.
Blue Water Bridge traveling eastbound, 15-minute delay for trucks between the U.S. and Canada in Ann Arbor. Gettys Road, eastbound and westbound, still closed as police investigate between North Dixboro and Superior Road. Please avoid the area. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by the Restore Wellness Center. Tired of dealing with nagging body pain, joint swelling, tendinitis, neuropathy, and chronic pain? The Restore Wellness Center will reduce or eliminate the pain completely. Reserve your appointment today at the state's best non-invasive laser therapy treatment center. Call 800-935-5959 in Brighton, Shelby, and Bloomfield, or restorewellnesscenter.com. Partly cloudy, 72 degrees, expecting showers, mainly from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. this evening. Could see gusty winds and small hail. A high of 83 tonight, a few clouds, your low 66. Partly cloudy on Thursday and a high of 82. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Dick Hafner in about 3 minutes.
It's Ken and Chuck, the Inside Outside guys, here to talk about CertaPro Painters.
That's right, Ken. The state is reopening and CertaPro Painters is ready to get back to work.
Rest assured, CertaPro Painters knows how important your home is to you. They're taking precautions recommended by public health officials to help keep you and the painting team safe.
Very cool stuff, too, like free remote estimates for painting the outside or inside of your home. It's quick, safe, and easy.
And you know CertaPro Painters does a great job. Just ask WJR's Steve Courtney.
CertaPro Painters took excellent care of me. I had some exterior painting done, and they were on top of their game. They provided a custom project plan, firm estimate, and daily progress reports. You can trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right and safely.
Interior or exterior, residential or commercial, CertaPro can take care of it all. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com.
Hey, Kev.
Yeah.
I got some breaking news for you.
Okay.
Oakland Township named third safest community in America
Wow.
by SafeWise. The sheriff's department just put this out, and this company or organization, SafeWise, uses FBI crime stats and United States Census population data to rank cities in each state and across the country each year. Pretty interesting. Oakland Township. The other ones are
Oakland Township.
This is Oakland Township. Yeah.
So
I'll send this to you.
City, not safest county, safest.
Named third safest community in America. Oakland Township. I'll send this to you.
Yeah, I know over the years Troy has done really well and some different cities. That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know much about SafeWise. Let me see here.
But remember we had Jessica Cooper on, and she said that all of Oakland County only had 7 homicides this year.
Yeah.
It was like, man, we really do have, Oakland County really is a safe county.
Mm-hmm.
That
figure was startling, actually.
Yeah. And then I think went back and looked, there's only like the last several years, there have never been more than 30, I mean, we talk about stuff happening in Detroit and different communities, and Oakland County, really, really low. But she was saying like domestic violence was up.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. Nope, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Yes, Patrick, this is breaking news even before it's broadcast. This is breaking news.
Breaking news. We don't know what it means.
We're not sure about it. We don't know the organization. We're doing breaking news, yes. So I love watching these Tiger games because it makes me feel normal.
Yeah.
I really hope it continues and they don't have to shut down.
I would love to go to one in person and watch it that way in an empty stadium, sort of hear the sounds and all that stuff. I've watched 3 games total this year, 2 Tigers and 1 Yankee game, the first game of the season. And not having fans doesn't bother me at all.
Neither.
Not really.
People were complaining about the sound of the crowd noise. And that doesn't bother me either.
Yeah,
They
I
said,
wonder-
oh, it sounds like fake crowd noise. But
I wonder if it's weird for the players if they get up for, if it helps them motivate them or whatever. I mean, it is awful quiet for the players. It almost feels like practice or something.
some of the sports writers were speculating that it was really hard on the Tigers for that first game, when they lost.
Mhm.
They were saying that the Tigers seemed, kind of distracted by the lack of a crowd.
Yeah.
But then again, the other teams don't have
Right.
They don't have a crowd either, so I
Right.
don't know. I mean,
I imagine, although on that one, it was, that opening day for the Tigers. I mean, there was a lot of home run balls. There was a lot of action going on. And, but the players, if you watch them, they kind of had the same reaction when they got a hit. They were fist pumping or whatever. They were
Mhm.
excited. It was just a little odd, but it was almost like watching a high school game, to be honest with you. There's not many people at high school baseball games. And even we used to go watch our college team play, and there'd be like 30 people there,
no, that's a good point. That's true. Or, some of the other leagues, the A League, the B leagues, and in the
Mhm.
smaller cities, it's a little bit like that. Not as many people. Well, there's no people.
No people.
No people.
Hold
So
on.
somebody had said that the suites, that they might at some point let people be in suites. Have you heard that? Is that
No,
accurate?
I haven't heard that, but that would make sense. I mean, if you can, if a family can be together, they ought to be able to go to a suite or go to a game. But I haven't heard that. I think they're wondering if they're going to be open. I mean, it really seems day by day as the numbers come in. They're having such problems in other cities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, are they tested every day?
Yeah, yeah.
So I wonder if testing kids a couple times a week would be a way to get them back in the classroom. Kids and teachers.
That's what everyone's saying is they got to get these tests to where they get instant results. The 2-day result isn't working out. It's just, too much can happen in 2 days.
Right.
And so they say they're working on it. They say they're getting close. Obviously, there are some instant result tests, but not enough of them to go around.
And I think they're expensive. I think the instant to the 15-minute result test is expensive.
So that's the problem, how to get more of those at a price point where people can test on a regular basis. Because right now they just take your temperature, and that's not a sure sign of anything.
No. Mm-mm. Yeah, our viewers are chatting about all the different stories this morning. Going back to school is still a very hot topic.
I know we're gonna have to create a space in the show where a segment where people can just call in and
it's interesting.
stuff off their chest.
We did the entire show on Monday on this.
Uh-huh.
And so we had two doctors, one from Yale, that was Dr. Katz, and Dr. Bhattacharya was from Stanford. And they both were basically really pushing the idea of trying to get the kids back in the classroom in some way, shape, or form. Then we had Dr. Sims on, who was really great too, from Beaumont Infectious Disease Research. And he was a little bit more cautious.
Yeah.
He was a little bit more like, okay, I agree. I have kids. I want them to go to school. But on the other hand, we really need to do this right. So it was very interesting, the difference. I mean, there are a lot of different viewpoints out there about this.
Yeah, I was talking to Dr. Rafai about it, Dr. Tom, and
Yes.
he's very much about being outdoors is fine and healthy, and being healthy is good. It combats everything. But he's saying, but don't put yourself in danger. Don't get into a crowded situation.
Find your company anywhere in Michigan at Farm Bureau Insurance.
Really tricky.
It's tricky. Greg is there.
From the great voice of the Great Lakes, this is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Deitz filling in for Paul.
We told you about a high school teacher and coach claiming he was fired from Walled Lake Western High School after his recent tweet stirred up controversy. Justin Casera, baseball coach and social studies teacher at the Commerce Charter Township School, was fired after posting a tweet that read, "I'm done being silent at real Donald Trump is our president. Don't at me." Casera was contacted by Human Resources on July the 10th to meet with the principal and district superintendent, where reportedly he was told that he had to resign or be fired. Well, now Justin Casera is hiring an attorney to file a lawsuit. And joining us now on the Paul W. Smith Show is Greg Roll, the attorney that the Casera family is going to be hiring. Greg, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
So tell us what happened here, because it seems like after this initial story broke, the school kind of said there's more to the story. At this point, what do you know about the firing of this teacher and coach?
Just what essentially you said so far. We have requested his personnel file pursuant to the Bullard-Pilecki Act. They have time within which to provide that, which has not run as of yet. So we don't have the full complement of his records. I do understand from the dynamic discussion that occurred that they said you either resign or we will fire you, and it was no uncertain terms related to what he had said and tweeted. So I don't see how they get around it. Again, I'm going to reserve my judgment in that regard until I review the actual documents, but thus far, I think it's clearly related to what would be protected First Amendment right speech.
So
and being punished for that.
So he wouldn't be considered an at-will employee who could be fired for any reason at all. You would have to have some valid reason to let him go.
No, that's not true. I mean, even though you are an at-will employee under Michigan law in a general sense, there are protections for everyone, including the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act, which prescribes adverse employment decisions based upon a variety of factors, one of which is constitutionally protected speech. So again, to the extent that he was punished or treated differently than other similarly situated teachers who voice opinions, and that's what this is in this particular case, political opinion speech, which is the most highly guarded and protected speech in America, he has a viable legal alternative against them.
So
yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So what do you think? What do you think is going on here in other schools and other places of work? Is there a overreaction to the chaos that exists with all of the anxiety that's out there right now in the world?
I think that's in large part has to do with these people being targeted. Yes, because you have this counterculture now and kids coming out. And essentially, it's okay to be against the president of the United States, but you can't say anything positive about it. That's why you talk about this silent majority lurking out there and not really saying anything because they're scared of retaliation from the left. You may recall, Kevin, way back in 1977, I think you're old enough, they had that Skokie march by the Nazis. And you remember Skokie, at the time, one out of every 6 person was a Holocaust survivor. So these Nazis wanted to march in Skokie, Illinois, and it was the same public fear that you see now. Why would we let them do that? And believe it or not, the ACLU, a Jewish lawyer by the name of Greenberg came in, Goldberger, I apologize, Goldberg came in and championed the cause of the Nazis and won the right. And I had the honor of speaking to him while I was in law school. I said, "Why'd you do it?" And he said, Cap, when we shut them down, when we shut them up, we become like them, and then we become them. So, the First Amendment's there for a very good reason. Whether you say something positive or negative about the president, it's protected, Kevin, no matter what. And to let a few left wings, if you will, go out there and intimidate the existing hierarchy to make these types of decisions, it's outrageous, and we're not going to stand for it. And I've been approached by several other similar situated teachers with the same situation where they've been attacked by virtue of simple tweets regarding their political affiliation, and that's not going to happen. Not in my America.
The school statement says accurate information is essential. Please know that no disciplinary action was taken as a result of any support of President Trump. And we're unable to comment on specific staff discipline and personnel matters. What we don't know is if that means that this teacher coach had other issues or if there's some policy of some sort about tweeting from teachers. Can there be policies that say we don't want you on? Can school districts say we don't want you on social media, and if you go on social media for any reason, you could be punished or fired?
That would be true if it was universally applied. I have distinct examples of other teachers making comments on doing tweets rather, with political commentary on a left-wing bias slant, and no repercussions. So if they're going to do it, they have to do it uniformly, and they're not doing it. In fact, I think the same guy said, oftentimes we look through the lens of our fractured political discourse. What does that mean, Kev? It suggests to me that it's political in nature. I don't know. But we'll find out when we get his personnel file again if there's anything else insidious that we did not know about. I doubt that because look at it. He made these 3 tweets, one of which I think was a little bit more, if you want to say explosive. He said liberals suck, man. That was eventually deleted. But, quite honestly, you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to express it. And if the school district does not want their teachers to express opinions under the rubric of the school or under the name of the school, that should be a uniformly applied precedent. And that's just not true here.
And in Discovery, you should be able to find out if other teachers have been disciplined or not for tweets or social media posts that they've put out there, and you should be able to find what other teachers have been saying publicly online, right?
Well, it's real easy because on my guy's own tweets, there are other teachers that chime in, on the other side of it, and I've seen these other similarly situated teachers from the same school district. And I have their tweets out there, anti-Trump tweets, if you will, that are clear in what they're attempting to convey, and nothing's happened to them. So, again, my question is, why is it, if there is this law or this internal rule that the school wants to promulgate, why is it not uniformly applied to everyone?
You can't punish one side without the other, or in this case, with free speech, you shouldn't be punishing either side.
That's correct.
All right, Greg Roll, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show. We'll follow this case as it makes its way through the courts. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, let's check traffic and weather with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If the next step for your business is finding a high-impact hire, try Indeed. Their flexible payment options mean better bang for your buck with no long-term contracts. Indeed will even give you a $75 credit for your first job post at Indeed.com/high-impact. Terms and conditions apply.
Still looking good, Kevin, as far as accidents are concerned. We are accident-free, no major delays either. Still tracking that accident investigation in Ann Arbor. Getty's Road still closed, both directions between North Dixboro and Superior Road. MSP trooper involved in a car crash. Police are on the scene investigating. Please avoid the area. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Liberty Title, protecting property since 1974. For over 45 years, Liberty Title has been helping buyers and sellers keep their real estate transactions safe and secure. You get to choose your title company. Don't fall for a split closing that adds to your closing costs. You have a choice. Choose libertytitle.com.
A little wet weather around this morning, better chance north and south, clouds and sunshine otherwise. A few showers, thunderstorms try to fire this afternoon, 84. Tonight, some clouds, cooler, if you like to call it that, 65. Tomorrow, clouds, sun in the morning, more clouds later, and a high of 83. From a Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
Beaumont's emergency centers are open, and we are ready to safely care for you. At Beaumont, all patients are screened upon entry with safety protocols for COVID and non-COVID patients. Delaying care for symptoms of heart attack and stroke can result in long-term health issues. The earlier you address your health concerns, the more likely you are to have a full recovery. Don't wait. Our expert Beaumont doctors and caregivers are here for you. Learn more about how we're keeping you safe at beaumont.org/safe.
If your lease is up and you're in the market for a new vehicle, come see what we can do for you during our summer clearance event at Gowling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Hi friends, Bill Gowling here telling you about some of the great values going on now. Qualified Chrysler employees can lease a 2020 Chrysler Pacifica Limited for just $299 a month. Leases for 39 months, 10,000 miles a year with 1,000 down. Since 1966, we've been giving you a great deal and a great deal more. That's Golling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Bloomfield Hills, Chelsea, Roseville, and online at golling.com.
At the Ally Challenge presented by McLaren, we are committed to supporting the greater Flint community one golf shot at a time. Tune in on Golf Channel July 31st through August 2nd and join us in supporting United Way of Genesee County and other local charitable causes. Make a Birdies for Charity pledge or bid on once-in-a-lifetime experiences and memorabilia. See how you can help by visiting theallychallenge.com.
Lawrence Technological University graduates earn a degree and a higher starting salary. In fact, when it comes to earning potential, the Brookings Institution ranks LTU 5th among U.S. colleges and universities. Be enriched. Be more. At LTU, possible is everything.
Serving Michigan students is a Lawrence Tech specialty. You can live on campus or at home and earn one of America's most coveted college degrees. Explore some 100 programs for cutting-edge skills and careers. Reserve your spot at ltu.edu.
Do you know you might be overpaying for your Medicare supplement plan? Do you get lost in an alphabet maze of plans like A, B, C, D, and G, F? Would you like help getting out of the maze and finding the very best plan for you? We are experienced Medigap agents at Health IQ, and we are on a mission to give people like you fair and square Medigap rates. Health IQ is the only insurance agency that rewards seniors proactively working on their health, like eating right and exercising. You don't have to be an athlete to save money. We reward healthy lifestyles of all kinds. Do you take your vitamins and supplements? Do you stay active and in the know about things that impact your health? If so, you could save money with Health IQ. Let us help you take care of your Medicare supplement needs. To see if you qualify for exclusive savings on Medicare supplement insurance, go to healthiq.com/Medigap. To start saving, go to healthiq.com/Medigap. That's HEALTHIQ.com/MEDIGAP.
Health IQ is an agency offering plans from different insurance carriers. No government or Medicare affiliation. Coverage and special rates not available in all counties or cases.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Deitz.
Parents want kids back in school, but they want assurances that kids, teachers, and staff are as safe as humanly possible. Albion College is taking a proactive stance to do just that. And joining us on the line now is Dr. Matthew Johnson, president of Albion College. Dr. Johnson, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Great to be here, Kevin. Thanks for having me this morning.
Yeah, so this is tough. I mean, people want to go back to school. Kids want to go back to school. I got kids in college. They want to be in school. I want them to be in school, but everyone wants to be safe. Obviously, that's a top priority for you and for other colleges and other campuses. What are you guys doing to try and make sure that happens?
Yeah, Kevin, you're absolutely right. We did a survey of our students, both returning and incoming students, about 3 weeks ago, and learned that more than 95% of both new students and returning students want to be on campus, and over 90% in both populations are willing to do just about anything to be on campus in terms of public health and safety. So we have built a robust public health redeployment program to bring our faculty, staff, and students back to campus. It includes a whole educational approach, training our students while they're still at home about the public health principles, showing them the ways we need to behave when we come back to campus to be safe. It also includes a set of environmental changes around campus where we have put in foot pedals on bathroom doors and distance all the desks far from each other. We've installed hand sanitizers. We've improved airflow in all rooms around campus. Everything the CDC recommends we have done in spades. We've outfitted more than 100 classrooms with new technology. And then finally, we are taking a rigorous, among the most rigorous that I'm aware of, approaches to testing, monitoring, and management. When students come back, every student, faculty, and staff member will be tested on a 14-day cycle with randomized testing in between to make sure we can detect, manage, and isolate any occurrences of COVID that might be present in our population.
So walk me through what it's going to be like for a student at Albion College if they say they arrive healthy, but at some point catch COVID.
Sure. We're sure that there will be some number of students who test positive on the first day. It's inevitable that will happen. So we'll be ready from the first day. We've set aside a decent amount of our housing stock, and students who test positive will be moved to an isolation housing stock separate from the rest of the student population. That housing stock will be managed with its own food supply. They'll have access to classes virtually. And we will take care of those students while they move through if they have an active infection or if they have no infection at all but continue to test positive. If they need medical attention, of course, we've got partnerships both with our local hospital and with the Ford Health System so that a student can gain more medical attention if they need to. But in most cases, our students will manage whatever symptoms they have on campus in isolation, and we will continue testing them. Now, when I say isolation, I want to be very clear. They're not going to be by themselves, of course. There will be a community of folks that they are a part of and caretakers that are there to help them, but they'll be separated from the rest of the student population so that we prevent spread. Once they pass 2 successful negative tests, then they can rejoin the student population, which should take about 14 days, anywhere from 10 to 14 days, and they'll go right back to the student population.
It's so impressive to look at this plan on paper, and then I think about kids in college and personal responsibility. How do you convince the students to behave after school, to not, get into big crowds, to go to big parties, to spread COVID?
Yeah, so we have an advantage of being a residential college, which means the vast majority of our students live on our campus, and we have a really tight relationship with them. That relationship has been maintained when we went off campus in the spring and across the summer, and we've been in constant contact with our students across the summer. As I've spoken to leaders of student organizations, of fraternities, and of athletics, what I hear from those students is they are ready to come back. They are ready to follow the public health guidelines. And in fact, the 3 populations I just talked about are all populations of student leaders. And part of our approach is to work with those student leaders to be influential on their peers, to help us reinforce that if we all wear our masks, if we all pay attention to our personal hygiene, and if we all pay attention to the physical distancing guidelines, we will be just fine. In Latin America right now, where the vast population is using masks to prevent COVID, they have among the lowest incidents of seasonal flu in a very long time. That's how effective mask wearing is. If everyone wears masks, the communicability drops down to somewhere around 1%. So we believe students are ready for that kind of responsibility. We work very hard with our students to be responsible citizens, and this is just part of that continuing mission.
So the other side of the coin is staff and faculty. They are likely to be more at risk because they're likely to be older than the student body. What are you doing, or what is the plan to keep staff and faculty healthy?
So staff and faculty will participate in the same testing regime. And we have had an accommodations process for staff and faculty to self-identify as either being vulnerable themselves or having someone in their household that is vulnerable. And in those cases, there will be a few classes that are taught online, even while students are on campus, to protect those faculty members. And a similar process was done with staff as well. And many of the offices, in fact, all of the offices on campus have designed a very rigorous, what we call return to work plan. Every office wrote a return to work plan. Those return to work plans work out rotational staff, so they're not all in the office at the same time. They also work out alternative work arrangements for those staff members who are in a vulnerable situation and need to work remotely. It's been a lot of planning all summer, and it's really an amazing, comprehensive, institution-wide set of plans, all reviewed by an external medical review board. And Jim Wilson at University of Pennsylvania, who is my presidential medical advisor. So we're getting the best advice as well to make sure we're following the best possible public health protocols we can build.
It's very impressive. So in your worst case scenario plan, if an outbreak occurs, do you have enough teachers to go around if people are sick? Do you have kids take classes online on their computers from their dorm rooms? What's the plan if an outbreak occurs?
Yeah, so our plan for the fall is what we call progressive management, and that means we're not going to predetermine a certain threshold at which we would move completely online, because there are really two variables we need to think about at all times. One is, what is the percentage of incidence in the population? And the second is that percentage managed? In other words, have we stopped it from going up? Is it going back down? Is there multi-generational infection? In other words, the positives today lead to positives in 3 days and in 5 days. If we don't have that kind of management under control, then we'll have to start thinking about those types of approaches. But we're pretty confident our testing is 98% accurate, and our protocol, that is the way that we're testing and monitoring the population, should be about 98.5% reliable to detect any infection within 2 days of onset. So we're pretty clear that we're trying to catch it, manage it, move it into isolation, and keep the population safe.
Really encouraging that people like you are on this and paying attention, and you have thorough, excellent plans in place for the kids to come back to school. Dr. Matthew Johnson, president of Albion College, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, good luck this next upcoming year. We'll be back with more of the Paul W. Smith Show after we check in with weather and traffic with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by the podcast True Romance. True Romance is the podcast for anyone who loves listening to two girls talk about falling in love and then taking a baseball bat to your aquarium tank. Buckle in, folks, and listen to True Romance with Carolina Barlow and Devin Leary wherever you listen to podcasts.
Seeing a construction delay along the Southfield Freeway northbound at Michigan Avenue. Construction has traffic backed up from at least Rotunda and Geddes Road. Both directions still shut down. Between North Dixboro and Superior Road, police are on the scene investigating that accident. You can take Huron River Drive instead. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Operating Engineers 324. Operating Engineers 324 run the heavy equipment that's building Michigan's roads. Remember to slow down, pay attention in work zones. For the workers' safety and yours, OE324, we build, we operate, we maintain. Visit OE324.org. Expecting rain showers from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. today. Could be heavy at times with gusts.
I'm back.
Hi, Ann. How are you?
Oh, great, Kev. Dana is going to join in on your group.
Thank goodness, because I was just looking at words like Watchmen and Ozark and Netflix and Disney and streaming and all things that I don't do.
You don't watch. You don't do any of that? Do you do Netflix?
We pay for it all. I mean,
but we don't watch a lick of it.
We have massive bills, but I just am on cable news all day long.
Honestly, that is the exact same scenario over here. I have all of that.
Yeah, I don't have the Apple TV. I think I probably have Disney. I have HBO and Netflix and all the premiums and Showtimes and things like that. But then the shows are never, no matter what I have, the shows pop up on something else. Like someone will be talking about some show. I'll be, oh, what's that on? And they'll be like, oh, that's on Apple Plus something. I'm like, I don't know. I give up.
We need Dana for this.
Yes.
We definitely need Dana. But like Disney Plus, that's a good one to have. They've got a lot of stuff. There's a lot to watch there.
Well, honestly, Netflix, which you have to hit a different button than my regular remote. Like I have to go to Netflix or something, right? If I go to Netflix, there's thousands and thousands of things to watch. I got no problem with what's on there. It's just but my regular TV also has thousands and thousands of things to watch. I just, but to get to that hot show or whatever, the thing everybody's talking about, it seems like it's always on something new. So as if somebody has a new streaming system, they're going to go spend a lot of money to get a really good show so that people have to come and sign up for that service. And I just can't keep up.
I know. Well, how much can you watch though?
I know, but I would do just want to watch whatever the best thing is or whatever everyone's watching, so that I at least know what people are talking about. Like when Game of Thrones came around, I started to watch. I said, I don't think I want to watch this. It's not terribly interesting to me, but then everyone in the world was watching it. So I jumped in and watched it and it was fine. I enjoyed it. It was good. But if this year there was some show that Reese Witherspoon was in. It's like their morning talk show anchors. It's like the Today Show or something. And I think Nicole Kidman might be on it too. I don't know, but people were saying it was really good and it'd be interesting because it's about a TV station and whatnot. But it's on, I think it's on Apple or something, Apple TV or something. I'm like, I can't go sign up for another one. And then some people say like, well, if you wait a year or 2 years, everything ends up on Netflix eventually anyway. So
Exactly.
I
Wait.
can wait.
Have you watched Ozark?
So I think I watched season 1 of Ozark. Is that where they're? Do you watch that?
No.
Okay, I think if I'm thinking of the right show, I think that's where they move into the Ozarks, and the guy's like a money launderer, and it was very cool. I watched all of season 1, and then I never got around to season 2, and I think they might be on season 3 now.
It looks to me like that's had a strong. It says here a strong showing.
In Watchmen.
I don't know what that is.
One of my daughters, I think, watches Watchmen. It got 26 nominations. What I'm looking at here says it was a virtual release. Oh, the release of nominees was online. Okay.
Superhero mythology.
Yeah, that's not up my alley.
Nominations.
Oh, Dana's going to be very strong here. I may just skip right over it with Jim Rubin, go to Governor Gavin Newsom has pledged to do more to protect farm workers.
Dana, I just reminded her to get into this conversation.
I'd be like, so Jim, tell me about State Senator Jerry Hill's decision in California.
Oh, we have to do this.
Hey, we have farmers in Michigan. It might be applicable.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Here's Dana. Dana to the rescue right here.
Dana. Whoop. It's hump day.
It's hump day.
Kevin needs you. I'm
Dana,
out.
I have no information here. This is going to be just awful.
Well, Jim Roop is the entertainment guy, right?
Yeah, he's great.
So he'll know everything.
He'll know, and you'll know. And
basically, all you need to know is that diversity to the max this year. Couple of snubs, but there's always snubs. Like somebody's always going to get snubbed out.
So that's all I saw. All I saw was that Reese Witherspoon was snubbed out, and there was funny memes about her, and that she has like 3 shows, and I've heard of all of them, and I've not seen any of them because I belong to the wrong stream services.
And then also the lady Elizabeth Moss from Handmaid's Tale, she was left out. But if they have only so many slots, how many people, you know what I mean? How many people can get in?
There's so many shows.
And it's so many shows. Latin actors were left out. That's another snub.
You said diversity to the max. Does that mean there was diversity or there was
more black people than ever? Put it like that. But still Latin actors left out. Even LGBTQ, a couple of those people were nominated. I shouldn't say it like that. Not those people, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I gotta believe more nominations than ever before come in because people are doing more shows.
Yes.
When I look at like the local Emmys, what was this what was it? This was for the Emmys, yeah. When I look at the local Emmys, it used to just be, your 3 or 4 local TV stations.
Right.
But now the Free Press and the News, they have video elements, so they enter, and these magazines enter, and then private companies now enter, and all these streaming services enter. So you get more competition. I guess it's probably harder to win, and they probably mean more when you do win. But
yes,
from a viewer, I can't keep up.
I can't either. There's no way you could watch all these shows.
I just keep watching this WJR FaceTime show over and over on my phone.
It's funny. I watch it too.
We got to nominate this for.
I know, right?
For best comedy.
I'm telling you, I laugh at it every day too.
We call this episode "Phones Are Down."
NAI athletics and all the software you need to succeed. Be smart. Be more. At LTU, possible is everything.
Serving Michigan students is a Lawrence Tech specialty. You can live on campus or at home and earn one of America's most coveted.
The comments are so funny too.
100 programs for cutting-edge skills and careers. Reserve your spot at ltu.edu.
We know life's a little different. It's been a while since you've had a professional haircut, and it's been way too long since you've made a reservation for a date night. But right now, we need a little different, because different is a good thing. When you're ready to get off the sidewalk and onto a trail, get out of the kiddie pool and into a river kayak, or just experience something different, we'll be ready. We hope to see you soon in Michigan's Great Lakes Bay region, where life is just a little different.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Deitz.
We need to lighten things up a little bit and have a little fun, so we're bringing in Dana Clark to the round table. How are you, Dana?
Hello, Kevin.
And
Doing
we also
great.
got Jim Roop out in California. Jim, how you doing?
What? We're doing fine out here.
Hey, Jim, it's hump day.
It's hump day.
They're having way too much fun for a Wednesday.
I know. We're a little out of control. We wanted to check in with you on these Emmy Awards. I was looking at the notes, and I at least recognized the name Watchmen and Ozark, and I think I may have even watched an episode or season 1 of Ozark. But there's so many streaming channels and so many shows. It's so hard to keep up with all of this. How do you do it?
Well, first of all, you have a good point there, and there's so many platforms now with so many shows. Really, 20 years ago, and I don't know how many I've been doing now, maybe 25, 30 of these things, but about 20 years ago or more, it was just sort of the networks, maybe some HBO stuff, a little bit of cable stuff, but for the most part, you were limited in the platform of television itself. Now you have, with all the streaming services, lots of programs, lots of actors working, which makes it really hard, number one, to follow, number two, to nominate. They talk about snubs and surprises. I don't think that's true anymore. I think you just have so many people, and you only have so many in a category, that some great acting goes unawarded because you can only fit so many people in a category. Until they really expand things, that's going to always be. So I don't really call them snubs and omissions anymore, or surprises. I just say it's kind of the luck of the draw. You got 5 or 6 in a category. If you're number 7, you might be just as good as a number 3 guy, but you're just not going to make it in. It really honestly is, with so much, a real task. It's a 24/7 job just to follow all the shows that are out there.
Dana, how do you go about watching the hot shows that you hear about?
I'm telling you, it's so challenging. It's so difficult. I did see a lot of these shows, though. Watchmen was great, little confusing, but I definitely think it should come back for a second season. Jim, I wanted to ask, there's more diversity this year. Do you think it's because of this BLM movement, or do you think, like you said, there's just so many great shows on?
I think Hollywood itself, the entertainment industry itself, has been trying to become more diverse for a few years now. You remember the Oscars So White movement that was going on a number of years ago. Then it seemed to be doing okay. Then the movement came back again when last year or 2 years ago, mostly all white men were nominated in all the categories. It's always been an issue with females in Hollywood, people of color in Hollywood. So they're doing their best to try. I think, yes, the BLM movement has really sort of thrust or forced, really, Hollywood into really examining what's happening here. So the diversity, you definitely see it not just in who's nominated, but in the makeup of the voting members, the makeup of the hierarchy of the Television Academy. You really see a more diverse group of people who are sort of running things. Not that they're making a conscious effort, really, to say, well, let's get more people of color in. With the diversity in the hierarchy, it's just sort of follows suit. That they don't have to force it. It just naturally happens. That's what we're starting to see. We're starting to see a natural growth, an organic growth in understanding diversity, and especially in the hiring of actors and others, even behind the scenes or behind the camera, and then with the folks who run the shows, if you will. It's a much diverse field of people today.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like with a lot of these different options now, between Netflix, Showtime, HBO, there's a lot of opportunity and ability for better writing and people to be more creative. I think we're just seeing better material. Jim, when you look at the nominations, what surprises you and who got in and who didn't?
Yeah, I was a little surprised that Bob Odenkirk was not nominated for Better Call Saul. I was a little surprised that Steve Carell was nominated for The Morning Show. But again, once in a while, he can really do some good dramatic work, as Steve Carell. So I think those kinds of things, some of my favorite shows don't get in. Like, I really enjoyed Outlander. I thought that was really nice. That didn't really get in. Again, I think it's just a matter of there's so many options in so few slots in which to put those options that sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It's not necessarily the luck of the draw. That's not what I'm saying. But all categories are really, really competitive. And all the acting is really great. You have people in movies that are working on television. I mean, my goodness, it used to be such a separation where there was TV actors and movie actors. It was a little easier to find the cream of the crop, who was really good. And those TV actors usually went on to movies. But now there's the TV productions, like Game of Thrones, if you remember. That was a mini motion picture every week. These kinds of things really up the take of who is and who is not. So there's just such a competitive group of people, competitive bevy of shows that it's really hard to choose.
Dana, who's your top number one person of the year?
Ooh, that's a good question. Ooh, I'm going to say Insecure. I think Insecure is going to take a lot of awards home, and I also think Watchmen. So I'm going to go Regina King.
All right, Jim. Who do you say? Who's going to bring home all the awards?
I'm going to go with Watchmen. I think it's got most of the nominations, so I'll go with that. But I agree with Insecure. I like Issa Rae too, but I agree with Regina King. I really believe she's done some great work in so many platforms this year that she can't go unnoticed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jim, thanks for checking in with us. Dana, thanks for checking in with us. We'll be watching, although I don't know what the awards ceremonies will look like this year, but we will be watching and see who wins. Thanks for being on the show, guys.
Thank you.
Jim, have a good day.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and then check weather and traffic with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Mark your calendars. Express Employment Professionals is once again hosting National Interview Day on August 6th. This special event supports hiring as businesses continue to reopen and business ramps back up. Apply online today. Visit ExpressPros.com/interview day to find a location near you.
Still watching that closure, Kevin, along Gettys Road, both directions eastbound and westbound between North Dixboro and Superior Road. Police on the scene investigating that early crash this morning involving an MSP trooper. You can take Huron River Drive instead. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel.
A batch of rain and thunderstorms passes north this morning. Some of us may get clipped with a shower thunderstorm.
See you, Kevin.
Break.
Bye, thanks.
Come back, 84 degrees. Tonight we break up the cloud party, settle back to 65. Tomorrow, some sun in the morning, more clouds in the afternoon with a high of 83. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stagik on News Talk 760 WJR.
Consumers Energy is committed to helping Michigan's small business community prosper now more than ever. And we can all help small businesses in our communities get back on their feet and support their reopening by shopping local and shopping often. After all, we're all in this together. Consumers Energy is proud to serve and support Michigan. If you own a small business, learn more how Consumers Energy can help at consumersenergy.com/business. You can count on Consumers Energy.
It's Ken and Chuck, the Inside Outside guys, here to talk about CertaPro Painters.
That's right, Ken. The state is reopening and CertaPro Painters is ready to get back to work.
Rest assured, CertaPro Painters knows how important your home is to you. They're taking precautions recommended by public health officials to help keep you and the painting team safe.
Very cool stuff, too, like free remote estimates for painting the outside or inside of your home. It's quick, safe, and easy.
And you know CertaPro Painters does a great job. Just ask WJR's Steve Courtney.
CertaPro Painters took excellent and they were on top of their game. They provided a custom project plan, firm estimate, and daily progress reports. You can trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right and safely.
Interior or exterior, residential or commercial, CertaPro can take care of it all. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They're right here in our community.
That's Certa with a C. CertaPro Painters, proven and trusted experts in painting.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Have you been told you need spine surgery or just sick of living in pain? The Disc Institute has a proven, painless alternative. If your neck, back, or sciatic pain is due to a herniated, degenerative, or bulging disc, then you actually have two problems. One, your pain, and two, your bad disc. Drugs, therapies, epidurals, and new pain lasers are designed to only treat your pain, but they're not designed to treat your disc problem. And this is crucial because your bad disc is what's causing your pain in the first place. Without addressing your disc problem, your problem will get worse, which can ultimately lead to surgery. At the Disc Institute, we have a proven solution to solve both of your problems, your pain and the bad disc that's causing it, with our high-tech, non-invasive treatments. This is what can stop your pain without surgery. We'll even review your MRI for no charge. Call our new Grand Blanc location at 810-881-DISC, 810-881-3472.
Hi, Frank Beckman here. I think most of you know I've had back problems for a long, long time. Over the last couple months, I've told you about a place I visited that helps fix the nagging pain. I called the Restore Wellness Center. Their goal is to restore function, reduce the pain, speed up healing, and that's just what they did. For the past 3 years, they've been able to help thousands of Metro Detroiters.
In my case, it was my left knee, and I was not getting any better. People saw me hobbling around like an 80-year-old man, and then weeks later saw me walking normally and said, Mike, what happened? And I said, I went to the Restore Wellness Center with high-intensity laser. Yes, I saw results, full 100% restoration. I cannot recommend it more highly for somebody that's had a recent injury.
800-935-5959 or visit RestoreWellnessCenter.com. Restore Wellness Center. What do you need restored?
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Deitz.
It's 8:49 on July the 29th, and joining us now is our friend Frank Beckman. Frank, how are you? Frank, are you there? Frank. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. No, Frank? Ann, how are you?
Well, hello there. I'm not Frank. I'm stepping in for Frank.
Stepping in for Frank today.
Yes, but I do think he'll be popping in here hopefully any second.
We'll have him do that. I wanted to talk to him about the hearings with Attorney General William Barr, and to sort of set the stage, I'm going to have Brian play the sound from the Democrat from Washington talking about Michigan, and we heard this very early this morning, but let's play it again if we can, Brian.
Let's look at how you respond when the protesters are supporters of the president. On two separate occasions, after President Trump tweeted, "Liberate Michigan," to subvert stay-home orders to protect the public health of people in Michigan. Protesters swarmed the Michigan Capitol carrying guns, some with swastikas, Confederate flags, and one even with a dark-haired doll with a noose around its neck. Are you aware that these protesters called for the governor to be lynched, shot, and beheaded?
No,
You're not aware of that?
I was not aware of it.
Major protests in Michigan. You're the attorney general, and you didn't know that the protesters called for the governor to be lynched, shot, and beheaded. So obviously you couldn't be concerned about that.
Well, there are a lot of
You
protests
didn't-
around the United States, and on June
Attorney
1st,
General
I
Barr,
was
you
worried
seem
about
to
the
be
District of
engaging
Columbia,
in
which is
protests
federal.
in certain parts of the country. You're very aware of those, but when protesters with guns and swastikas and
I am
Confederate
aware of
flags, excuse me,
protesters
Mr.
in
Barr,
the
this
federal
is my
government.
time and I control it. You are aware of certain kinds of protesters, but in Michigan, when protesters carry guns and Confederate flags and swastikas and call for the governor of Michigan to be beheaded and shot and lynched, somehow you're not aware of that. Somehow you didn't know about it, so you didn't send federal agents in to do to the president's supporters what you did to the president's protesters. In fact, you didn't put pepper balls on those protesters. So the point I'm trying to make here, Mr. Barr, that I think is very important for the country to understand, is that there is a real discrepancy in how you react as the attorney general, the top cop in this country, when white men with swastikas storm a government building with guns. There is no need for the president to, quote, activate you because they're getting the president's personal agenda done. But when black people and people of color protest police brutality, systemic racism, and the president's very own lack of response to those critical issues, then you forcibly remove them with armed federal officers, pepper bombs, because they are considered terrorists by the president. You take an aggressive approach to Black Lives Matter protests, but not to right-wing extremists threatening to lynch a governor if it's for the president's benefit. Did I get it right, Mr. Barr?
I have responsibility for the federal government, and the White House is the seat of the
Mr.
executive
Barr, let me just
branch,
make it clear.
not
You
for
are
the-
supposed to
the Michigan
represent
authorities
the
can
people
handle-
of the United
Michigan
States
authorities
of
can
America,
handle-
not violate people's First Amendment rights. You are supposed to uphold democracy and secure equal justice under the law, not violently dismantle certain protesters based on the president's personal agenda.
So wow, that's what a national audience watched yesterday. And one of the problems I have with that, Ann, is that this is a representative from Washington talking about what happened in Michigan.
Right.
And when the way she describes it, she says that they stormed the Capitol with guns. Well, we were here. We covered that. It was a protest, and the protesters had guns because Michigan is a right to carry state. And part of the protest was that they wanted to make sure that they continued to have the right to carry, and that's why they had guns. And in fact, at the time of the protest, you could have guns in the Capitol building. There was no law preventing you from bringing a gun as long as you had a permit to carry.
You're
and
right.
so you get this representation of what happened in Michigan from somebody who's clearly, making a speech in front of the TV cameras. And it just makes me wonder how much of what else I'm hearing is accurate.
No,
And
that's a good question, Kev.
because some of what she said was accurate. There were people that were inappropriate there. They had like these little Barbie dolls made out to look like the governor, and they had swastikas, and so they take parts of what happened, but they embellish it and put it in their own light. And so when I'm watching other people who I don't know testify or make comments, I don't know how much of it to believe based on.
Plus, my problem is it sounded like a scolding. It didn't sound like an investigation into what happened. She was scolding.
Yeah, they ordered the attorney general to come and sit before them to answer questions, and then they yelled at him for 6 hours and barely let him talk. That's not the way I like to see those hearings go. But anyway, I'm sure Frank will be talking about the hearings and much more in his show, and we will check in with Frank after the break. Thanks for everybody who stopped in today. It was fun filling in, and Paul W will be back tomorrow, so that'll be a lot of fun. And right now, let's head off and check in with Dana Clark, see what's going on with traffic and weather.
This report is sponsored by the podcast, The Daily Zeitgeist.
The Daily Zeitgeist is a podcast from the world's smartest and funniest comics and writers. It gets you caught up on the day's news without grinding you down. Twice a day, they discuss all you need to know without crushing your soul. Listen to The Daily Zeitgeist wherever you listen to podcasts.
Looking at a 15-minute delay for trucks across the Blue Water Bridge eastbound between the U.S.
All right. Have a great day, Kev. Thank you for your help.
I haven't talked to or seen Frank in I think 4 months. The way the schedules have just gone, either I haven't seen him or we had a late guest booked. A couple times Chief Craig came on in that 8:45 segment, and so we didn't go to Frank. I think I'm starting to feel like Frank doesn't want to talk to me. I'm gonna
need to call into his show. You should be Kevin from Troy.
The show and say, "Why are you dodging me? You're avoiding me."
That's what you're going to have to call him and give him a hard time.
Exactly. That'll be good. Thanks, Ann, for making it so easy today.
My pleasure. Thank you to you. I hope you have a great day.
All right. See you soon.
Bye-bye.